The 0-1 outside just a bit. Called for a ball. That one clocked in at 94 once again. 1-1 now on Connor.
Decent crowd coming out for Pups in the Park Day, or Bark in the Park, excuse me.
Connor flies one out to center field. Going back for it is the center fielder, Joe Stewart. Makes the catch drifting to left center field for the first out of the first inning.
Early out's what's needed for Weston.
Jackson Lyon steps up in the 2-hole for the Titans. Bats .337 for the year. The first pitch lined right over the second baseman Burton's head into right center field. Picked up by the right fielder Clark Elliott. And Jackson Lyon is on base with a single.
Seems like Cal State already is finding the key against Weston with two solid contacts. The first one being a recorded out, but the second one landing in center right.
Zach Liu, the third baseman, steps in. On the move is Lyon. Good throw by Overtop, and he's tagged out. Caught stealing. Nice throw down to second base from Overtop.
He had a split second on him, too. That wouldn't have not, even with a worse throw, he probably would have been out there, too.
And Lyon now, he had 2 stolen bases on the year in 3 attempts. Now only 2 stolen bases in 4 attempts, a 50% average. That's not really what you'd like to see for somebody going to steal bases. Liu steps back in, takes strike 2 looking. 0-2 the count now on Liu. Ball outside, just in the dirt, picked up by Overtop. Weston still throwing high velocity with every pitch. Has featured from about 92 to 94 miles an hour. The 1-2 just high, called ball. And it evens the count now at 2-2 for Zach Liu. He's a .353 hitter, .451 on base percentage, and a .441 slug. He hits .462 with 2 outs. The 2-2 skied to right field, and it'll be just in the Cal State bullpen, foul ball.
I'm always so amazed by the foul balls here at Fisher with the just sprawling parking lot on each side. You better have good insurance.
The 2-2 after the foul ball. Chopper to the shortstop, Bertram. Quick throw and gets Liu out at first base.
So there we go, a quick 1-2-3 inning, even though a hit was given up. Still at the minimum number of batters. That's 1 hit, no runners left on base, and 0 runs scored in that first inning.
Weston gets through that inning quite nicely. And like you were saying, Adam, I talked to Zach Linfield about this last time I called a game here earlier at the end of March. And we had a lot of foul balls hit into that parking lot. A couple cars got dinged on the windshield or the hood. It's not a great spot you'd like to park your car.
Oh, no. I know it's so crowded with both baseball and softball having a first pitch at 2 p.m., so lots of fans here. The entire parking lot, it seems completely full, even though each of the stadiums are about half capacity, I would estimate.
And it looks like the softball's underway, too. They had the same first pitch time as us. They take on Penn State after beating them 8-0 in about 5 innings last night, I believe.
Yep, in softball they do have mercy rules, so some games could be quite quick if one of the teams is successful. That's key for Michigan softball. Normally a dominant force in the Big Ten, struggled to begin. They lost, got swept by Nebraska, then lost 2 straight in a row to Northwestern. So trying to get the season under control, and that definitely helped against Penn State the other night.
And one can only hope that Michigan gets back on the same track today against Cal State Fullerton. We're watching Evan Yates, the freshman right-hander, warm up before the start of the bottom half of the first inning. This is Yates' 3rd career start. In his past 2 starts against CSU Bakersfield and University of California Riverside, He did not go farther than 3 1/3 innings. As a freshman, it's tough for these pitchers to go deep into games. He's been fairly good so far this year with a 4.26 ERA and a 1.67 WHIP. 15 strikeouts, 6 balls in 12 2/3 innings pitched. He is 2-0, making his third start here. Clark Elliott to lead off for the Wolverines. First pitch, down in the dirt, ball 1 on Clark Elliott. Elliott been one of the best leadoff hitters in the country so far for the Wolverines. He's a great presence in the top of this lineup. Second pitch, check swing. Third base umpire Perry Costello says Elliott held up on that one. It'll be a ball outside. 2-0 the count on Elliott. And he walks a fair bit, got a on-base percentage 100 points higher than his average. Third pitch down low again. 3 balls, no strikes, the count on Clark Elliott. Dangerous spot for a dangerous hitter. The 3-0. Outside, and he walked him. Clark Elliott takes a free pass on the first at bat of the game for the Wolverines. He'll head to first with his 19th base on balls on the season.
So key to get early base runners here, especially a guy like Clark Elliott who could manufacture something on the base pass.
And the number 2 hitter for the Wolverines steps in. It's Joe Stewart, the center fielder. Gets into the right side of the batter's box. Evan Yates sets to deal. First pitch called high, ball 1 on Stewart. He's a .328 hitter on the season, .399 on base percentage, .475 slugging percentage. He hits .310 with runners on base. The 1-0. Just catches the outside corner of home plate, called strike on Joe Stewart. Yates glances down at his forearm to see what the play is here. The 1-1, Clark Elliott takes the lead off first. From the stretch, Yates throws back to first base on the pickoff attempt. Does not get Elliott as he slides back to first base. And will reset for the 1-1 on Stewart. Yates, another pitch in the dirt. Ball 2 on Joe Stewart. We see Yates featuring an arsenal with a 88-mile-an-hour fastball. He has not been able to control it thus far today. A lot of pitches down low in the dirt. Did get that called strike on Joe Stewart in the second pitch of the at-bat. The 2-1, Elliott takes a big lead off first. Fouled back to the backstop by Stewart. 2-2 now on him.
And you see Elliott, too, dancing on the base path. Even though he's not going anywhere at the moment, you got to imagine it's getting in the pitcher's head a little bit.
He does have 5 stolen bases on the year, caught stealing only once. Now the 2-2 on Stewart. Pickoff attempt again to first base. Elliott gets back successfully. And it's clear that Yates is rattled by Elliott's presence on first base. Those 2 pickoff attempts. He's in a good spot here against Joe Stewart, though, with the 2-2 count. From the stretch, Stewart lines it to the shortstop. Taylor made 4-6-3 double play, but Stewart beats out the throw to first. And it'll just be 1 out given up by the Wolverines there. Looked to be an easy double play, but the throw came too slow to first base. And Stewart beats it out. Now Ted Burton steps in, the number 3 hitter for the Wolverines.
And that's the situations where you kind of want Elliott to be off first base to avoid it, but you still probably wouldn't gotten an out there. So even if it wasn't on first, you would imagine the shortstop would have just went straight to first base.
Burton steps in. First pitch swings and misses at a fastball. 89 miles an hour from the right hand of Evan Yates. 0-1 the count now on Burton. He does strike out quite a fair bit. 32 strikeouts on the year for Burton. 277 hitter with a .365 on base percentage. Another pickoff attempt to first base. And it looks like they'll call a balk on Evan Yates on the pickoff. That sends Joe Stewart to second base. And now Ted Burton has a runner in scoring position with one out. He is a worse hitter with runners in scoring position, hitting .263 on the year as compared to his .277 on base or batting average, excuse me. And that was a warranted pickoff attempt on Stewart. He has 7 stolen bases on the year and only 1 caught stealing. Swing and a miss on Ted Burton. An 0-2 count now on the right-handed second baseman.
Burton does have some power behind his bat. 7 home runs and 9 doubles on the season so far.
And the junior from Huntington Beach, California, looks to send a runner home against a school from his home state. The 0-2 gets away from the catcher for Cal State Fullerton, and the runner advances to third base. Joe Stewart has gotten to third base on nothing but errors from the Cal State Fullerton lineup.
Yeah, and he reached first base too based on a fielder's choice, so he is making Cal State Fullerton pay for not turning that double play.
That's an interesting alchemist move to get all the way to third base off no positive plays. Swing, and Ted Burton fouls it back down the first base line. Still 1-2 the count on the junior. Matt Fry on deck, 1 out. Man on third, it's Joe Stewart, the senior graduate transfer, the center fielder. Ted Burton faces a 1-2 against the freshman Evan Yates. The pitch, another flyer into the parking lot. Goes that ball. Foul.
Really earning this at bat right here from Burton. Hard to believe he only has 1 ball.
And there was that 4-0 walk to Clark Elliott. Joe Stewart battled on his at bat until he sharply grounded into the shortstop, reached on a fielder's choice. Now Burton with 2 consecutive foul balls. Stewart attempted to go home on that one, but Burton held off. He takes the ball, and the catcher for Fullerton has to threaten Stewart to get back to third base.
Yeah, Yates is a righty, so his line of sight is right at third base. Got to imagine he's at least trying to get in the pitcher's head.
Stewart goes once again. The catcher, Cole Ehrman, stares at Stewart. Stares him down all the way back to third base. It's a ball down low, 3-2. The count is full on Ted Burton.
Finally battling. Burton looking to maybe get a walk even here.
Stewart on third, the 3-2. Swung on. A deep foul ball once again into the right side of the parking lot. That ball bounces. Probably hit a car. Ted Burton continues to take pitches during this at-bat. Like I talked about, Yates does not get too far into games that he starts. So having this many pitches in the first inning doesn't bode well for his future in this game. Another foul ball into the backstop by Burton. That's, by my count, 4 foul balls in this at-bat.
Yeah, Burton just won't sit down without a fight here. And with 1 out and a runner on third, you have to believe pretty much anything in between the foul lines will score a run.
The 3-2 to Burton, looking to send Stewart home. Swung on and lifted. A foul ball once again into the parking lot. Besides that 1 foul into the backstop, All of Stewart's pokes have been to the right field parking lot. Stewart still at 263 average with runners in scoring position. Does have 33 RBIs on the year, looking to add his 34th. Deep fly ball towards center field. And it'll be a chance to tag up for Stewart, easily walking into home plate. It's a sac fly from Ted Burton, scoring the first run of the ball game. Joe Stewart gets home on a fielder's choice, a balk, a wild pitch, and a sac fly.
So Michigan, they have one hit early, but nothing from Stewart on that, and he made Fullerton pay.
And that is the danger of making mistakes in baseball. Even with no positive plays really for the Wolverines, they still going to run her home. Matt Fry squares to bunt, pops it up towards the Michigan dugout, lands harmlessly in foul ground.
Genius move. Even the third baseman is about where the shortstop is aligned normally with the left-handed shift here. If you could place it down the third base line, more likely than not, you got a free bag.
Fry, the left-handed freshman, has batted well so far this year. Heady play to try and get that bunt off. Now he lines it right back to the pitcher, Evan Yates, who makes a beautiful play with his glove. And that was about as sudden as it gets. A liner right off the bat of Fry into the glove of Yates for the out. And the freshman escapes, only surrendering the one run. We'll be out of the first inning with Michigan leading 1-0. Still no hits in the ballgame.
Yeah, Michigan, that's the purest form of manufacturing runs. You got the walk and then the fielder's choice, balk, wild pitch, then finally scoring on the sac fly. Michigan leading despite any hits so far.
We'll prepare for the top of the second. Cameron Weston will return to the mound. He'll warm up for about a minute. Had a nice first inning. Did surrender the one hit to Jackson Lyon, but Lyon tried to steal second, was picked off by Jimmy Overtop. And Zach Liu was coaxed into an out. So it was a 1-2-3 inning for the Wolverines in the first. It'll be Jason Brandow, the left fielder, for Cal State Fullerton to lead off the top of the second, followed by the DH Brendan Bobo. And the catcher Cole Ehrman, who's batting sixth, rocking a 198 average. In the few baseball games I've called so far this year, I've seen this a lot where the middle of the lineup actually contains some of the weaker hitters. I wouldn't say the middle, but the 6th and the 7th spots. And the 8th and the 9th are some hitters that may be considered better hitters to turn over the lineup.
We see that for the Wolverines today with a little bit of an odd alignment with Obertop at 7.
But it'll be the cleanup hitter, Jason Brandow, taking strike one looking against Cam Weston to lead off the top of the second inning. Brandow hits .315, an on-base percentage of .400, and a .479 slug. Second pitch in there, a ball for Brandow, the 1-1 now. Weston lines up and throws. Grounded to the third base side, just out of the reach of Matt Fry at third base. It'll go into left field, and another single for Cal State Fullerton.
That was a laser, too, right up by the third baseman. Just no chance to even field it if he wasn't right there in the perfect positioning.
And I said this in the open, the problem for Cameron Weston all year has not been the home run. It's not been a lack of control. He just lets up a lot of hits. He has a 178 walks and hits per innings pitched, but 41 hits in 32 innings is not a great average. The number 5 hitter, Brendan Bobo, designated hitter, steps in, takes a ball inside. Bobo walks quite a bit. He's got a .402 on-base percentage to a .293 average. has struck out 30 times. Second ball outside for Bobo. Now 2-0 with Brandow on first. To Bobo. Smacked sharply right to the left of us in the press box. Foul.
The way the layout is here at the Wilpon Complex, it is like the baseball field's nestled between everything, and that one almost hit Yost.
Weston the 2-1 on Bobo. Foul ball towards the Fullerton dugout. Evens the count now at 2-2. It's a sophomore and junior heavy lineup for Cal State Fullerton. They have 3 juniors to 6 sophomores, and the freshman Evan Yates pitching. That could lend to the fact that they're 10-18 in their first year under their new manager. Another foul ball towards the Fullerton dugout by Bobo.
We saw a long at-bat from Michigan in the first inning. Now we got a similar one from Cal State Fullerton. This count at 2-2 right now.
The 2-2 swung on and just fouled down the third base line. There was nobody there for the Wolverines on the left-handed shift on Bobo. Matt Fry playing where the shortstop Riley Bertram normally plays. Bertram aligned just behind the second base. But like I was saying, Cal State Fullerton in their first season under new manager Jason Dietrich, he took over for Rick Vanderhook, who managed Cal State for 10 years. He retired at the end of last year. Ball outside against Bobo makes the count full at 3-2.
I love when the catcher always points down to the ump as if like the player swung and it was clear he checked it up, but always trying to get a slight advantage if you can.
The check wasn't even enough to mention it for me. But this one is lifted into deep center field. Stewart going back for it to the track, and he makes the catch. Brandow was all the way over to second, so he has no chance to tag up on that hit.
A favorable draft may have put that over the fence. That he was literally had a back to the wall in the deepest part of the ballpark, too. Michigan's lucky to keep that in this one and get an out while at it.
And that ball off a 91.5 mile an hour pitch was off the bat at 107 miles an hour. Really big exit velocity. Normally ends up in a home run, but just got to the track. It's a fairly deep 395 straight away center field here at the Fish. Cole Ehrman, the catcher, steps in, takes a ball. The first pitch, second pitch. Weston lining up for it from the stretch. Gets it in there, called strike on the outside corner of home plate. 1-1 the count now on Ehrman. He's a very light hitting catcher. Batting average of 198. OBP a 239 and slugs 222. 200 with runners on base. Another one just kisses the outside corner, called strike again on Cole Ehrman. 1-2 now. With one out. Brandow still on first base. He has 2 stolen bases on the year, but he has not looked to steal so far at his time on first base this inning. Another pitch outside. Just leans away from home plate. Makes it 2-2 the count now on Ehrman. Weston the 2-2 swung on and missed. Weston strikes out Cole Ehrman for the second out of the inning.
Beautiful changeup there. Left him kind of hopeless on that swing.
And it's rare we've seen the off speed from Weston so far today. Been a lot of mid-90s pitches. But he pulls out the fun stuff for that one to get Ehrman out swinging. Nate Nankill steps in now. The right fielder for Cal State Fullerton. First pitch Down low inside, ball 1 on Nankill. Nankill, it's 2:42 with 2 outs. Does have Brando still at first base. Weston, the 1-0, another ball inside. He has had trouble controlling his balls so far today. Did have that one strikeout of Ehrman, but there's been many pitches inside and outside. Only a few called strikes for Weston. Now the 2-0. Home plate umpire Jeff Doy does not give the strike call to Weston there. It's 3-0 the count now on Nankill. He's walked 8 times so far this year to 25 strikeouts. He'll take the 3-0. Let it go right by for a called strike down the middle. 3-1 now on Nankill. May have the freedom to swing away here. Another called strike on the outside corner of home plate. Now Weston working outside after pounding inside on Nankill. It's 3-2 the count now. Nankill has yet to swing in this at-bat, seeing 5 pitches.
You think Brandau's running on the pitch?
We'll see. With a 3-2 count and 2 outs, he should be. He does. But it's a foul ball into the Michigan dugout off the netting. Nankill stays alive at 3-2. We will see Brando go now after every pitch with the count full with 2 outs. Cal State Fullerton, 2 hits so far on the day. Still no runs to show for it. The 3-2, and he strikes him out looking. Nankill goes down without a swing. Save for the foul tip the pitch previous. And Cam Weston registers his 2nd strikeout in the top of the 2nd.
He's rung up and completely baffled. Seems like Weston's really finding a groove here.
He's done well at locating that pitch on the outside corner. Did it again to get Nankill out. He had the previous batter, Ehrman, taking 2 strikes and then swing and missing on the 3rd.
Here in the middle of the 2nd, there was 1 hit, no runs, 1 runner left on base, and no errors from the Wolverines. Michigan gets out of a 2nd frame without surrendering any runs.
Still 1-0 Michigan. Joe Stewart scored in the bottom of the 1st inning on a sac fly. Leading off the bottom of the 2nd for the Wolverines is the designated hitter today, Tito Flores. The games that I've called for Michigan, I've only seen him been playing left field, but he gets the day off from being in the field today. He is one of the Wolverines' preeminent power hitters, has 7 home runs so far on the year.
You have to think maybe if Michigan gets in a close situation late in the game, might have Bakic called to him for a pinch hit situation.
And Flores is tied for the team lead in home runs with Ted Burton. Matt Fry just behind with 6, but Flores at 7. Batting 5th today, he's .348 as a leadoff hitter. Bats .261, .336, and .548 so far this year. Does have those 24 strikeouts to only 7 walks. First pitch high for a called ball. 1-0 the count now for Flores.
Flores, the junior, has been a leader on this team for quite a bit now.
1-0 to Flores. Swings to the shortstop. Easy play to first base. Gets Flores out. Nice throw there by the Cal State Fullerton shortstop, J.T. Naviak, to get a quick first out for Evan Yates.
And Connor got a good scoop at first base right out of the dirt and saved the out there, too.
It's a bit of a slower throw. It looked like an easier play, but the velocity on that throw made it closer than it should have been. Regardless, Flores is out, and the shortstop for Michigan, Riley Bertram, steps in. Takes a called strike on the outside corner. The switch hitting Bertram batting left-handed against the right-handed Evan Yates. We've seen home plate umpire Jeff Doy give some leeway to these pitchers on the outside corners of the strike zone. The 0-1 is outside of that strike zone for a ball on Riley Bertram. Bertram hits .295, .367, and .390 so far in the year. He swings and misses at the 1-1, makes it 1-2. Bertram doesn't strike out that often, only 18 so far on the year. Does have 13 walks, only 1 home run, 5 doubles, 1 triple. The 1-2 to Bertram. Swung on and foul into the backstop. Bertram, the 1-2 against Evan Yates, taking his time, is in there. And Riley Bertram strikes out looking, striking out for the 19th time this season. Evan Yates has looked good so far in this one. If Joe Stewart wasn't led on base on a fielder's choice on what looked like an easy double play, he might still be going for the shutout, but he did allow that 1 run. Still has not allowed a hit. Here's Jimmy Obertop hitting 7th at catcher. Interesting spot for Obertop, one of the best hitters on the Wolverines lineup. All the way down at 7th. He walks extremely often, 21 bases on balls and only 106 at-bats. Had a called strike on the first pitch, and now he lines one over the second baseman's head. And Jimmy Obertop on base with a single, the first hit of the game for the Wolverines.
And that was a beautiful cut by Obertop. Kind of intrigued to see him batting so low in this lineup. He has the third highest batting average. He's batting 7th. Wondering if Bakic is trying to play around with the batting order to try to see what sticks and what doesn't after struggling early this season.
Jack Van Remortel steps in. He returned from injury about 2 weeks ago. Only 50 at-bats so far this season. Playing first base for the Wolverines today, takes a ball low in the dirt for the 1-0. Van Remortel hits .296 with runner on, .250 with 2 outs. Only hitting for a .240 average so far this year. That's why he's down here at the 8 spot. That pitch gets away. Another wild pitch. This time it advances Jimmy Obertop to second base.
Obertop yet to even attempt to steal this season, but even taking the free base on that one. Fisher's notorious. It has a very deep backstop. So anything that gets by the catcher is basically a free base. You could probably see David Ortiz even take one on that.
That's the second wild pitch from Evan Yates so far today. Bit of some control issues for the freshman. Did allow a walk to Clark Elliott leading off. Van Remortel now the 2-0. And that's a ball low. Just outside of the strike zone, makes it 3-0 now. On Van Remortel, we've seen 2 3-0 counts given up by Evan Yates. The one before on Clark Elliott led to a walk. Van Remortel 9 walks on the year, 21 strikeouts. Now the runner in scoring position. He lays off a strike right down the middle. 3-1 the count now on Van Remortel. That one in there at 89 miles an hour, one of the quicker pitches we've seen from Evan Yates so far today.
You mentioned how Yates often comes out early. Maybe it wasn't the worst thing in the world to take that pitch.
Yates at 31 pitches now. The 3-1 on Van Remortel. Big swing and a miss from Jack Van Remortel. Another full count for a Wolverines hitter. Up and down the lineup, they're making Evan Yates work. Now up to 32 pitches. Not even out of the second inning. Could see a pitching change sooner rather than later. Yates steps off the mound to throw back towards second base. Nobody was on the bag there for Cal State Fullerton. Holds off, Obertop retreats. We'll get set for the 3-2. Obertop not on the move, but Van Remortel takes a ball low for a walk, and I was a bit surprised with a full count and 2 outs. Jimmy Obertop hesitated to get down to third base.
I guess with no force there, you might have been picked off even, and that's the last thing you want to do is cut the inning short after securing a walk. Obertop is not the fastest guy on the team either.
Jordan Rogers now the 9th hitter. The left fielder batting 9th today. 2 runners on, takes a strike on the outside corner for strike 1. Rogers has not had a good year so far, hitting .205, .279, and .308. He does have a .308 batting average with runners in scoring position and a .308 average with 2 outs in the ball game. He comes up clutch, so we'll see if he can do it here. He taps this one deep into the right field parking lot for a foul ball. Now 0-2, the count on Jordan Rogers.
It's a cloudy day here in Ann Arbor, but no forecast of rain, at least last I checked.
And I saw a quick forecast that said it might snow today. I don't know about that.
That's just what this city needs in April.
The 0-2 on Rogers lets it go outside for ball 1.
And you're going to the Tigers game tomorrow.
It's supposed to be sunny, around 50 degrees tomorrow. I'm excited.
That's the best you could ask for in Detroit in April.
It's always like this on opening day weekend. Baseball in the north. The 1-2 on Rogers lifted over the press box, another foul ball.
Rogers staying alive here with 2 runners on.
And Evan Yates, 37 pitches now, close to 40.
Any hit to the outfield is likely to score a run. Maybe not with Obertop on second, but he does have 24 runs scored this season.
Rogers, the 1-2, lets it go outside. 2-2 the count now on Jordan Rogers. He's still staying alive, and it may take 40 pitches for Evan Yates to get out of this second inning. Van Remortel and Obertop at first and second base. Neither two a threat on the base paths, with them both playing catcher and first base. The 2-2 on Rogers in the dirt, and he works the count full. Every single hitter for Michigan making the freshman Evan Yates work, especially in this second inning.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Yates. He doesn't stay long. This might even force him out a bit earlier. Don't know how much of a concern pitch count is for Fullerton.
We don't see anybody warming in their bullpen, but now the 3-2 on Rogers, swing and a miss. Yates gets out of the jam. With 2 runners on, he strikes out Jordan Rogers. That's Rogers' 14th strikeout on the year. Michigan goes quietly, leaving 2 runners on base. They still lead 1-0.
Yeah, those 2 runs left on base, hopefully for the Wolverines, those don't become crucial late in this game, especially one on second. But they will begin with the top of their lineup coming up next inning. That is a 1 upside. Today is Bark in the Park Day here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Based on my unofficial estimate, I would say there's about 40 dogs or so here in attendance, in addition to probably about 200 or 300 people. Lots of young kids. These weekend games tend to bring out the youngsters in the Ann Arbor community.
There's a lot more dogs I'm seeing than there was when we were first getting started.
Yeah, we got in late. Some beautiful golden retrievers down there. Got a husky.
My mom's going to be here later. She's going to try and sneak in my yellow lab into this game. I do see a yellow lab out there. But we missed the registration date, which was Thursday for today's game. Maybe they'll take pity on my buddy and let him into the game.
What's your dog's name?
Mackinac.
Mackinac.
Like
that's such a Michigan name, too.
We love the island.
Is it spelled with a C or a W?
A C.
C?
Can't
Okay.
spell it with a W.
Good.
He's not named after Mackinac City. He's named after the island.
Had to clarify for our listeners at home.
An interesting thing about baseball on Mackinac Island, The Fort Mackinac Garrison used to play. They had a team in the 1890s.
Really?
They do sell posters at the Fort Mackinac gift shop. I should have bought one. I didn't. But just imagining playing baseball, they used to play inside the stadium, or inside the fort. That was their stadium. Leading off for Fullerton, JT Naviak, the shortstop.
You know what would be cool? They did the Field of Dreams game for the Cubs. They should do that with the Tigers.
I don't know if it's big enough in the middle of that fort now for a big enough baseball field. They'd have to maybe move some buildings around. Naviak takes 2 pitches so far in this at bat. He's got a 1-1 count, working on Cameron Weston, who comes back out. Naviak, 385 as a leadoff hitter. Third pitch in there, called strike. Weston doing a good job. He's been on point, getting those strikes looking, painting the corners against these Fullerton hitters. Still no movement in the Fullerton bullpen, so it looks like Evan Yates will go back out there to start the third inning for the Titans. As Naviak strikes out looking, I thought that ball was a little bit low, but home plate umpire Jeff Doy calls it a strike, and Cameron Weston picks up his 3rd strikeout of the ball game.
Really fanning Fullerton Titans in this one.
Jack Haley, the second baseman, steps in for Cal State Fullerton. First pitch in there for a called strike, and Cameron Weston just pounding the strike zone. And the Titans batters have been reluctant to swing. Not many swings and misses. 2 of Weston's 3 strikeouts have come looking. Haley swings and misses at that one. Big cut. Gets the count to 0-2 for the sophomore Haley. With 1 out, the lineup will turn over after this at bat to the leadoff hitter for the Titans, Caden Connor. Now the 0-2 on Haley, and Cameron Weston gets him out swinging. Another big hack at it. Misses everything from Haley. And Cameron Weston, 2 straight strikeouts to begin this frame.
He's making work at the end of the lineup, too. We got the leadoff hitter back up. In the first inning, he flew out to left field. It's the one thing of note of Fisher Stadium. They do have that high left field wall.
And the lineup turns over to Caden Connor, the leadoff hitter for the Titans, takes the first pitch down low and inside. Ball 1 on Connor. That was the changeup from Cameron Weston, an 82-mile-an-hour pitch. Strike 1 called inside. 1-1 the count now on Caden Connor.
I always thought it would be cool if they put seats on top of that wall like they do at Fenway, but they barely fill up this seating they have now.
Another called strike in there on Caden Connor, makes it 1-2. Caden Connor, a sophomore from Anaheim Hills, California. He's an MLB draft prospect. Should see him in the bigs eventually. Connor takes the ball down low. From what I've heard, Connor is playing first base today, but he's more of a DH type. Not a great defender, but so far this year he hasn't had a great bat. Swings at that one, chops it towards the Michigan dugout foul. Hitting .267, .363, and .379 on the year. The Fullerton coaching staff obviously has enough faith in him to bat him leadoff behind or ahead of 2 hitters that are hitting close to .350 in Lyon and Lou. The 2-2 on Connor down low in the dirt. Ball 3 makes the count full for Cam Weston. He's gone up to 40 pitches today on that ball. Both pitchers being made to work by both lineups for these teams. Still 1-0 ball game. Michigan leads. The 3-2, and Cam Weston lost him. First walk of the game for Cameron Weston. Has 4 strikeouts, but he sends Caden Connor to first on a free pass. Talked about Cameron Weston getting strikes in there. Loses control there on Connor, and it's bad news for Jackson Lyon, the number 2 hitter. He only has 12 strikeouts so far in the year. He puts everything into play that he touches, it seems. Lets that one go for ball 1.
single from Lyon in the first inning. Ultimately picked off at second.
The 1-0. This time Weston gets the outside corner, strike one for Jackson Lyon. He faces a 1-1 count now. Lyon hits 344, 408, 505. 344 average with 2 outs and 327 with runners on. The 1-1 outside once again for Weston. Makes it 2-1 now.
The 2, 3, 4 spot of this lineup for Fullerton all have batting average over 300. It's a really solid core.
And Lou, chopper to the third baseman Fry. He'll have to make a tough throw. And Lyon is safe at first base. 2 runners on now for Cal State Fullerton.
Those are always so tough when it's chopped that high in the air because you have to wait for it to come down. The laws of gravity set a limit on how quickly you could get over to first, and even made a good transition and just instantly gunned it over to Van Remort, but couldn't be in time.
Zach Lou steps in now, the number 3 hitter for the Titans. Takes a first strike looking. Looked like Cameron Weston was getting out of this inning cleanly. He walks Caden Connor, and then an infield chopped single from Jackson Lyon to get him on base. Matt Fry, not exactly that fleet of foot to go pick up that ball and throw over to first quickly. He's got a big arm, but not that fast to try and charge that grounder. Zach Lou now gets a ball low and outside. Doesn't swing on it. Count now 1-1 on Lou.
Would be huge for Michigan to get out of the inning without surrendering any runs, especially in this 1-0 ball game.
Swing and a miss. The curveball just kind of dropped on Lou. Swings through it, and it's now a 1-2 count on the junior Lou. This is not a home run heavy hitting team for Cal State Fullerton. Only 16 total on the year. Now a nice play made there by Burton to get the chopper and retire Lou at first base to get out of the inning.
And even Burton took a split second to recompose himself after getting the catch. He still had time to gun it out at first. Great positioning from him, who was in the right spot to get the Wolverines out of that top of the third inning. No runs scored, 1 hit, 2 runners left on base, and no errors.
And that chopper doesn't hurt the Wolverines like the previous one of the third baseman Fry did.
Not quite high enough, and there's a difference when you're playing second and third, just the distance you have to throw it. Like in a bang-bang play, that could make the difference between out and safe.
And we still see Evan Yates out there to begin the third inning. So he will keep working, even though he has thrown 44 pitches in only 2 innings of work. Clark Elliott, the leadoff hitter, comes in for the Wolverines. He walked in his previous plate appearance on 4 pitches, but he was stranded at first base when Joe Stewart hit into a potential double play. Elliott was forced out at second, but Stewart eventually came around to score.
Yeah, Michigan, it feels like this game's going to be a close one, at least until Michigan or Fullerton's able to crack it open. Until then, you need to make the most of any opportunity you get. That's been the difference. Michigan was able to do that, and Fullerton has yet to bring anyone home.
And Clark Elliott strolls up to the batter's box, the lefty right fielder, hitting .339, .442, and .548 on the year. .353 average as a leadoff hitter. Takes the first pitch, check swing, and he tipped that one foul, so strike one on Elliott.
Elliott got 4 straight balls to lead off this game.
The 0-1 outside. 1-1 now on Elliott.
Elliott, a very impressive .339 so far to this season, with 39 hits, only 4 home runs, though.
That's the thing about college. It takes a while for a lot of these guys to develop their power. 1-1 now on Elliott. Lets that pitch go. And it's just outside the zone for a ball high. Elliott tremendous at getting on base. 19 walks so far on the year. The 2-1 now. High and outside on Elliott. And he's forced another 3-ball count. 3 balls, 1 strike on Clark Elliott. This is a dangerous count against a dangerous hitter, like I said the last time he was up. 3-1 though now. He may have the freedom to swing away. Not a great situation for Evan Yates. The 3-1 comes. Elliott swings. Foul, hard hit towards the backstop.
That ball was a little bit outside. He might be on first if he would have let that one go, but able to get some wood on that one.
Well, these bats are metal here in college. It's too dangerous to have wood bats.
Yeah.
They say they splinter.
Metaphorical wood.
3-2, Elliott swings. And a deep foul ball off his bat right into Yost Arena.
Right into a windshield. It did not crack, but that might cause some internal damages.
That's tough to park your car here on these days. I'm going to have to tell my mom to figure out where she's going to park far
I go
away
running on the track, and sometimes balls almost hit me.
3-2, Elliott stayed alive. Now he's got a ball low. He walks once again. The second walk of the game for Clark Elliott. His 20th walk on the season.
And that's only the 3rd walk surrendered by Yates, so 66% of them went straight to Elliott. Feel like I got deja vu with Stewart up after a walk from Elliott. See if maybe he could finish his at-bat with a run here, just like last time.
Yates got over 50 pitches, 51 now. After that Elliott at bat, Joe Stewart steps in. Like I said, grounded into a fielder's choice. That ball gets away from the catcher, Ehrman, but Elliott not able to advance to second base. Stewart also walks quite a fair bit. Not as much as Elliott, but he has 14 on the year. He's hitting .305 with runners on base. See if he can make something out of this here in this at-bat like he did the previous one. Swing and miss on a ball low. 1-1 the count now on Stewart. Clark Elliott has 5 stolen bases on the year. See if he goes on this one. Only caught stealing 1 time. Scored 27 times on the year. Stewart swings. Grounder into the shortstop. Same play as last time. And they don't get him. Another fielder's choice for Joe Stewart.
They say he was off at second, too, so both runners will be safe.
Oh, wow. That was a tough play to make for the second baseman, Haley. But it's not the same play as last time. This time, Michigan keeps both runners on with nobody out. We'll see if they call it an error.
They say.
But if it is, that could be another opportunity to, for Michigan to make offense out of purely Fullerton mistakes.
So as of right now, they're calling it a fielder's choice despite no one getting out. But no error yet has put on the scoreboard, nor a hit either. So
I think it'll be scored an error.
We'll keep you updated on that.
Yates steps off the mound to try and throw back to second base. From what we're seeing on our StatCast website, it says Joe Stewart reached on a fielder's choice and Clark Elliott advanced to second base. As of now, still no error levied against Haley, the Titans second baseman. A ball outside for Ted Burton makes it 1-0 the count now on Burton.
Now we're going to have a bit of a mound visit here. So we mentioned Yates already high in the pitch count, and we do have a pitcher warming up on the mound in the bullpen. No balls being thrown yet, but someone getting loose.
Yates has already thrown 54 pitches. Still not out of this third inning. It's been tough going for him, the freshman right-hander.
That mound visit's going to conclude without any substitutions or anything. With 0 outs here and 2 runners on, and Michigan's third batter up to plate, it seems like a ripe opportunity for Michigan to add to their run total.
Burton facing a 1-0 count against the pitcher Yates. Takes it low and outside, ball 2 on Ted Burton.
Hearing some cheers over from Alumni Field. I'm curious if Michigan may have scored recently.
The 2-0 on Ted Burton with 2 runners on. Swing, foul ball towards the backstop.
Burton earlier this game
Had that sac fly to center field.
Yeah, so he has yet to record an official at bat, but he does have that RBI.
The 2-1 on Burton after the foul ball. He lifts this.
You see the whole crowd diving out of the way and then a fan leaping to get the ball. When that went up, this would be a situation for an infield fly rule. Granted, that was not in the infield, but if it were, with 2 runners on base, with force outs and less than 2 outs, any pop fly that stays within the infield will be ruled an automatic out.
Burton, 2-2 now on him. Home plate umpire Jeff Doyle calls that ball high. Full is the count now on Ted Burton. I saw Ehrman when he took off his face mask. He was wearing a very big ski mask. These California boys not used to close to 40-degree temperatures.
Chatting with one of the guys from Fullerton. He says it's 100 degrees right now back at home.
Swing and a miss by Burton. He strikes out on a full count with 2 runners on. Gives way to Matt Fry, the cleanup hitter, to try and send these runners home.
That's going to be the 3rd strikeout of the day, secured by Yates.
And Burton took a big hack at that one. He has 6 homers on the year. He has the power, but swings and misses, and he's out. The freshman third baseman, Matt Fry, steps up. Still with Elliott and Stewart on. 2 quick base runners. Fry takes ball 1 outside from Evan Yates. Evan Yates now at 60 pitches between his 2 1/3 innings of work. The 1-0 on Fry, swung on. Hit towards the backstop, foul. Yates checking on Clark Elliott at second base to make sure he's not going, then delivered.
Got a wide gap between third baseman and shortstop here. We have kind of inching in to cover second in case of a pickoff.
The 1-1 to Fry. Just outside once again. And Yates cannot escape these called balls. He's not had too many called strikes. He's had to get most of his strikes from swings and misses. Does have 3 walks and 3 strikeouts so far today. 2-1 the count now on Fry. Swing and a foul ball lifted to the left side out of the parking lot there.
Hits the window of Yost. I have to imagine those are reinforced.
There's some type of screen on there. I saw one last time I was here hit the window, and it just bounced off harmlessly. 2-2 the count now on Matt Fry, the freshman. 2 runners on. Fry swings. Deep drive to right field, but it's foul. Pulled outside the foul pole.
Looked like it might have enough from the swing of the bat.
That was not as fast as Ted Burton's fly out to center field. The exit velocity was only 94 miles an hour on that fry laser. I thought it looked faster off the bat than that. But it tails foul anyways. Yates steps off the bag and gets Clark Elliott back to second base. But there's nobody covering the bag there for the Titans. 2-2 the count still on Matt Fry. Fouled off a couple pitches in this at bat to stay alive. Still those 2 runners on, 1 out. Michigan still leading 1-0. The 2-2 in the dirt, and Michigan another hitter works a full count. 3-2 now on Fry.
It seems like both teams are really doing great at drawing out these full counts. Probably not good for either bullpen.
Full count to Fry with those 2 runners still on. Yates steps off, sends Elliott back to second. We'll reset once again. These innings that Yates have taken has been long. A lot of runners have gotten on base for Michigan, even with only the 1 hit so far today, as they have kept that previous play that got both these runners on as a fielder's choice. And they'll call another ball for Matt Fry. He'll walk. Second walk of the inning given up by Evan Yates, and you'll have to wonder if he gets taken off the mound. With the bases loaded, only 1 out, with Tito Flores strolling up to the batter's box.
Bases loaded for one of Michigan's best power hitters. One swing of the bat could crack this game wide open.
The bases are loaded after a walk by Clark Elliott, a fielder's choice for Joe Stewart, and another walk by the freshman Matt Fry to get on first base. They're juiced for Flores, who grounded out in his first at-bat. First pitch down in the dirt, gathered by the catcher Ehrman. Ball 1 for Flores. Doesn't walk often, only 7 on the year. He's got a .263 average with runners on base. Only hits .237 with runners in scoring position, but he is a .500 hitter with the bases loaded.
Ooh.
And that pitch hit him. It'll walk in Clark Elliott, who sprints to first base, but he was going to make it home anyways.
And that's a dead ball, too, after it gets hit, so no.
I think Elliott was just making sure he was home, but Flores gets to first base after being hit. The bases stay loaded.
It was an 87-mile-per-hour pitch. Pretty funny to have the exit velocity after ricocheting off his shoulder billed at 23 miles per hour. But regardless, it will bring in a run and double Michigan's lead.
Yesterday I did see the Dodgers play the Rockies. They had one of the shortest batted balls in MLB history. It landed right in front of home plate and was called fair. I think it was Cody Bellinger that tapped it.
Isn't that practically a bunt at that point?
I don't know. I saw the ball. It was just sitting right in front of first,
wow.
sitting right in front of home plate.
It's great to have Major League Baseball back.
Riley Bertram, bases loaded, sends it right between the shortstop and third baseman and sends in Joe Stewart. He'll get home to make it 3-0 Michigan.
And you see Yates immediately looking over at the bullpen. You got to imagine a call's coming pretty soon.
And now Jimmy Obertop, like you said, Adam, a dangerous hitter coming up. I don't know if you want to keep the freshman Evan Yates out there. It looks like they will. Obertop comes up to the plate with the bases still loaded. Michigan has just been a production line these past 2 at-bats. Flores gets on after being hit by a pitch, and Bertram sends a single toward the third base shortstop gap into left field. Sends a runner home, but now looked like there will be a pitching change, and Evan Yates will not be the one to face Jimmy Obertop.
1 out here, bases loaded. Michigan already has 2 runs in this frame.
Yates has thrown 70 pitches, has yet to get out of this 3rd inning. He'll end with 70 pitches in 2 1/3 innings. I'll update when the inning goes final with the 3 runners still on base that were all surrendered by him. See if he gets a couple more earned runs. But for now, coming out of the bullpen is a reliever to take over for Evan Yates. The base is loaded for Jimmy Overtop. 3-0 Michigan. Still only the 2 hits. Cal State Fullerton has 3 hits. Has not scored a run. But Yates exits, facing 15 batters over 70 pitches. Pitches 2 1/3 innings. Surrenders 2 hits, 4 walks, has 3 strikeouts, and for now has given up 3 earned runs. We'll wait to give you the number of the reliever who is warming up for Cal State Fullerton. There. It is Finn Chester, the junior right-handed pitcher for Cal State Fullerton. Steps up. So Fullerton stays with the right-handers pitching.
Oh, and a little bit of an update from across the field over the Penn State-Michigan softball game. We have Michigan leading 1-0 with the bases loaded, too, so a chance to score even more. This would be huge for the Wolverines and salvaging their Big Ten play season. Just as I say that, they get out of the inning without scoring a run. I feel like I'm the jinx, but it's so unique to have these 2 fields like almost kissing in the outfield. Fences. Occasionally you see home runs land on the opposing field if it's positioned correctly, either a baseball one to the softball warning track or softball bomb to the baseball warning track.
And Finn Chester is 1-0 as a pitcher so far this year, 24 1/3 innings pitched, has surrendered 24 hits. He has 8 earned runs on the year, has surrendered 5 bases on balls, 12 strikeouts, has given up 2 home runs and a triple, 5 doubles. He's got a 2.96 ERA, a 1.21 WHIP, and he's 2.33 with runners on. Jimmy Overtop comes up, takes a first pitch ball low. 1-0 the count now on the junior catcher for Michigan, Overtop. He's got a 340 average with runners on, 290 with runners in scoring position, and he's got a 500 average with the bases loaded. It's Bertram, Flores, and Fry from first to third. Second pitch is fly deep into center field, and the runners will tag. Matt Fry looking to get home. He does. Tito Flores advances to third base, and Bertram stays at first. It's another sac fly for the Wolverines to send a second run home. They've got 3 this frame, 4 for the game. They lead 4-0. Jack Van Romortel will come back up with a runner on first and third.
Once again, it's a pretty still wind today. If anything, a slight draft coming towards home plate. There was an underdraft that might have been out of the park. It was in the deep, deep center. Able to easily score the runner from third.
Jack Van Romortel will come up. He walked in his last plate appearance. Still got those 2 runners on. Finn Chester, first pitch, just inside.
Almost hit his elbow, too. If he would have been a half step closer to the plate, might have reloaded the bases.
It's ball 1 for Van Romortel. We're still not out of this bottom of the second inning yet. 2 outs, 1-0 the count on Jack Van Romortel. Trying to get Tito Flores home from third base. Ball low in the dirt. 2-0 the count now on Van Romortel, who walked, like I said, in his last at-bat. He's got 10 walks on the year. Finn Chester only gives up a 138 average with 2 outs. He's been a good reliever for the Titans so far this year. Pickoff attempt to first base to Riley Bertram. Bertram gets back safely.
Chester doesn't quite have the velocity that we saw earlier.
Only throwing about mid-80s on the fastball. Van Romortel grounds this one to the second baseman, Haley. Easy throw over to first to Caden Connor to get the Titans out of the inning. They do surrender 3 runs, though. 4-0 Michigan. Only 2 hits still. They had their second RBI on a sac fly in this game off of a deep fly ball to center field by Jimmy Obertop.
As a pitcher, that's the last thing you want to do when you hit the run in with bases loaded. But
it's been a long downtime for the pitcher Cameron Weston for the Wolverines. He'll come back out to pitch the top of the 4th inning.
Still no one even in the pen at all. He still have the tarpaulin over the bullpen mound.
He's pitched really well. The thing I would be more worried about is just how cold it is and how long it's been since he was last up there. That bottom of the 3rd inning saw a pitching change for the Titans, and there were so many runners on base. The bases were loaded several times that we'll see how Weston can come back out. The temperature right now here in Ann Arbor is 39 degrees. It's cloudy, so the sun's not even out.
Ooh. We had some trouble last week where a game got delayed and eventually postponed due to cold weather. I believe the threshold for NCAA-sanctioned baseball, it has to be above 30 degrees. So no real danger of doing that today, but it's still chilly out there. Had to dig out my winter coat. I put it back in my closet after the warm week it has been. And Michigan can't make up its mind. Gives us a couple days of spring weather and then back into the depths of winter.
This, and I've said this a bunch so far this spring, this should be the last cold day of the spring. I would bet it would be, but I'll probably be wrong. Anyways, Jason Brandow steps in. The left fielder takes a strike looking on the first pitch. Brandow singled in his last plate appearance.
Weston has 4 strikeouts this game, too, so able to find the zone.
Swing and a miss. The catcher over top can't even get his glove on it as it drifts towards the backstop. But Brandow swung through it anyways. No runners on base. Nothing comes of it. It'll just be strike 2. 0-2 is the count on Brandow in this game. Already different than the last one. The victory against Cal State Fullerton. Ball outside for Brandow. Michigan won 2-1 last night. This is the second game in the set of 3. As Brandow is struck out by Weston, he sits down. That's Weston's 5th strikeout of the ball game.
Bobo comes up to the plate. Earlier this game had a fly out to deep center. Lays down a bunt, and that one dribbles foul. Going to be a strike 1.
And Weston still pitching well. Only the 1 walk, has 5 strikeouts registered. And his ERA has come down quite a bit from the mid-5s. He's now had a 4.89 ERA for the season. 35 innings pitched, and it's tough to measure how good pitchers are in college just off of the lack of a true sample size. The starters don't go that deep into games, and there aren't that many games to play. It's a ball low on Bobo, makes the count 1-1.
And also, unlike MLB players, collegiate guys, it's so young in their careers, you could still develop them, add some velocity, or even teach them another pitch or two.
There's an 82-mile-an-hour pitch to Bobo, facing down the 1-1 from Weston. He pops this one up towards right field. Elliott won't be able to get to it, and it's looking like extra bases for Bobo. Clark Elliott's hat falls off, and he tries to gather that one, but Brendan Bobo gets on base with a double.
Hard to believe. Fullerton now has double the hits that Michigan has, yet Michigan's winning 4-0 this game.
It's been one of those weird ones for sure. Those 2 fielders' choices with Elliott and Stewart. We've seen 2 sac flies score Michigan runners. There has not been a lot of offensive production from strictly offensive at-bats. It's been some mistakes from Cal State Fullerton and some tag-ups by Michigan runners. Now Cole Ehrman, the catcher, who struck out in his last plate appearance swinging, grounds one foul towards the Michigan dugout. Ehrman is hitting .250 with runners in scoring position so far this season. We talked about how he's a light-hitting catcher, but he does step up in situations where he needs to. The 0-1 after the foul ball from the stretch. Weston, ball outside, and I saw when he was warming up, he did not have as much control on that outside fastball as he once did earlier in this game. Maybe the coldness playing in a factor.
He still has high velocity. That last pitch hit into the 90s.
Well, he started this game off around 93, 94, if you remember. I think he's had to take a little bit off of it. Changeup gets Ehrman swinging. That one dropped from 90 to 80 miles an hour. Count 1-2 on Ehrman with one out. Runner on second is Brendan Bobo after his double. The 8th double given up on the year by Cam Weston. From the stretch once again, the 1-2 on Ehrman, lifted to left field deep, back, and gone over the wall. A home run for Cole Ehrman, his first home run on the year. That one got over the big left field wall.
With one swing of the bat, Michigan's lead cut in half. It's now 2-4 with one out here in the top of the 4th inning.
On a 1-2 count, Cameron Weston serves up another changeup to Cole Ehrman. Maybe not the right time for that pitch. It's a 98-mile-an-hour exit velocity off the bat. And now a grounder by Nate Nankill. Easy play for the second baseman Burton to get him out at first. But I don't know about that pitch sequencing you saw from Cameron Weston to serve up a meatball, maybe miss the location on that changeup. And Cole Ehrman sends that one over the high left field wall. That was his first home run on the year. 4-2, Michigan still leads. JT Naviak steps up after the ground out by Nankill. He squares up the bunt, lets it go by him. Strike one on Naviak.
Naviak had a strikeout looking in the 3rd inning.
And this bottom of the lineup was where Weston really performed well. But this ball is turned on, sent to center field. Joe Stewart, easy grab for him. We did see some hard contact off of Cam Weston. We'll see if he'll come back out for the 5th inning. Excuse me. He lets up 2 runs there on the 2-run shot by the catcher Cole Ehrman.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a fluke. Just one swing of the bat. He's still looking very good, getting quick outs, throwing strikes, but I wouldn't be surprised you mentioned the weather. That does play into the role of this, and he still went 4 innings and racked up quite a bit of pitches anyway. So would not be surprised if that is it we see of Cam Weston.
Finn Chester, the reliever who came in for Evan Yates in the last inning, steps back up to the mound. He only threw 5 pitches to get the 2 outs necessary to get the Titans out of the bottom of the 3rd inning, where the Wolverines played at 3 runners. But Chester has a 2.88 ERA, down from a 2.98 ERA earlier. However, he does let up a hitter in 43% of the leadoff at-bats he takes. The hitter for Michigan to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning is Jordan Rogers, the left fielder. He's .333 as the leadoff hitter, but I've said before, he's kind of a soft-hitting outfielder. Only 200 average on the year, 273 on base percentage, and a 300 slugging percentage. He struck out in his last at-bat against Evan Yates. Now facing Finn Chester, the junior right-handed pitcher. Throws a bit softer than we saw from Yates, mid-80s, compared to the high 80s we saw from Yates. First pitch to Rogers is fouled. High pop-up out towards the right field parking lot.
See a lot of the dogs in the crowd wearing coats and stuff. I always wonder if the pets are self-conscious when they put those on.
The 0-1 on Jordan Rogers is in the dirt. I don't ever put a jacket on my dog. We used to when he was a puppy, but that was just because he couldn't really maintain himself that well. He's a big lab. He's about 90 pounds. I like big dogs. They're fun to wrestle with.
I like big dogs, and I cannot lie.
The 1-1 on Rogers. He squares to bunt. It goes foul. 1-2 the count now on him. I think the one small dog I do like, I like Shiba Inus. I think they're pretty cute.
Oh, yeah.
They look like foxes. I saw one walking when I was walking here today, actually. And that would stray me from having Labrador retrievers. The 1-2 for Jordan Rogers. Nobody on. Lets it go by. That one was in the dirt. Ball 2 on him.
Rogers struck out to end the second inning in his first at-bat of the game.
That was a 78-mile-an-hour pitch from Finchester there. The 2-2 on Rogers is grounded to the shortstop, bobbled, and he cannot get Jordan Rogers out at first base. The bobble from Naviak is enough to let Jordan Rogers get on, and they'll call that an error.
Yeah, they quickly put that one up. Would have been an easy out if he would have maintained it. Now we got the top of the lineup coming up. First time Elliott's been up with any base runners. He has 2 walks already in the game. Being thrown out in the first inning on a fielder's choice and then scoring in the third off of a hit by pitch.
And that's the first mistake by the Titans called an error. They did have those 2 botched fielder's choices earlier in the game and 2 wild pitches. That scored an error. Jordan Rogers takes a big lead off first base. He has 4 stolen bases on the year, has not been caught stealing. We may see him on the move, but that first pitch to Elliott is in the dirt, ball 1. And like you said, Adam, he's walked twice today. He is always a threat to get on base with the free pass, 20 on the year. The throw to first base is off the bag, and Jordan Rogers gets to run to second base, advancing on another error for Cal State Fullerton. The pickoff attempt botched, dribbles towards the Titan dugout, and Rogers advances.
That's always what you risk on these pickoff attempts. You get too greedy or you get too rushed and undisciplined. You end up actually giving up a base rather than getting it out.
And it's another Michigan base runner reaching second base on no great play of their own. It's by the fault of Cal State Fullerton. Elliott, big hack at the second pitch of his at-bat, makes a 1-1 the count now. Elliott has scored today. He scored in the third inning when he walked. Now in the bottom of the fourth, he returns up to the plate. It was a successful bottom of the third inning for the Wolverines. 1-1 on Elliott, another big hack, but that slider too low. And it's a swing and a miss by Elliott to make the count 1-2. Rogers hanging out on second base for the Wolverines. Elliott looking to send him home. He's 5-29 with runners in scoring position. Swing, and it's popped up into the infield. Misplayed by Haley, the second baseman, and that'll allow Rogers to score. He motors in from second to home. It looked like an easy play for Haley, but he let that ball go by him. Not only does Clark Elliott reach base, Jordan Rogers able to come home from second to score.
Took a funky hop right at the lip of the infield in the infield dirt, I suppose. Went above him and went into the outfield and allowed the runner to come on in. That's heads-up base running.
And I don't think they won't give that earned run to the pitcher, Finchester. I don't think I'd ever seen a less earned run than I just saw.
Yeah.
2 errors, advances Rogers to second. It was a hit by Elliott, but misplayed by the second baseman Haley allows Rogers to score. Joe Stewart comes up, big swing and miss on the first pitch. He's 0 for 2 so far today, but he scored twice. It's been a game of just misplays by Cal State Fullerton, allowing Michigan base runners to get on base first and then score. I mean, Joe Elliott, 2 at-bats, nothing coming of them, but he did get home both times.
Yeah, both of them are almost identical, just a little cut straight to the shortstop. One was able to record an out.
And even though Rogers had scored, it's another plate appearance for Stewart, where Clark Elliott is standing on first base with no outs.
Once again, deja vu.
Stewart now an 0-2 count. Could see this plate appearance end differently than the previous two. The pitch by Chester is popped up towards right center field, and the play is made by the right fielder, Nate Nankill, to record the out easily on Stewart. First out of the inning for the Titans.
First swing of the day, that gets to the outfield, too, from Stewart. Still has a stellar batting average, batting .320 this season.
Ted Burton comes back up. He struck out in his last plate appearance, but he did have the sac fly RBI in the first. Swings and couldn't tell if he tipped that one. It looked like he did. Strike one on Ted Burton. Clark Elliott still standing at first in this 5-2 ball game as we've entered the bottom of the fourth inning. One out. The relief pitcher, Finn Chester, on the mound for the Titans. And time is called. Pitcher and the batter step off for a moment.
The catcher looks over to the dugout, trying to get a sign there. Remember in high school when I played, they'd always do that with a runner on first base.
Chester from the stretch, another pickoff attempt. Elliott gets back to first safely. We saw in the first inning when Elliott walked to get on base to lead off the game, there was two pickoff attempts on him. He's not been picked off, and then we saw Jordan Rogers advance to second on a failed pickoff attempt. Interesting to still see the Titans go back to that play. Now Elliott attempts a steal, and he's in there safe at second base. The throw was late by the catcher, Ehrman. Clark Elliott in there with his sixth steal of the year.
Elliott risked oversliding there. Very self-aware and had his hand on the bag at the last second, able to stay safe and get on up.
Michigan has been excellent in a lot of facets of the game that just don't involve hitting. That's their first steal of the game, but they've been great around the base pass. They've been excellent at working counts. They've got two sac flies. Called strike in there on Ted Burton. 1-2 the count now for him. Elliott on second. Burton, the 1-2. Chopper to the third baseman, and it gets over his head. Elliott will motor around third to come home and score, and Ted Burton sliding into second base. Good piece of hitting there from Burton.
Michigan continues to keep the run parade going. And we have another pitcher warming up in the pen for Cal State.
And I'm surprised to see nobody warming for Michigan. It's been another long half inning. And it looks like Cameron Weston is still on tap to start the fifth inning for the Wolverines as we get another pitching change for the Cal State Fullerton Titans.
That had a huge exit velocity. 118 is what they said off of an 84-mile-per-hour pitch.
I'm not sure, maybe 118 down into the dirt, but then it didn't look that fast.
Yeah. I always take these readings with a bit of a grain of salt from the radar gun. But that play in particular got the Michigan crowd up and cheering. Lots of youngsters in attendance. Looks like a couple of little leagues brought their teams on out today.
And that baseball just got over the head of the third baseman, Zach Lou. Wasn't a lot he could do about it. That no man's land area between the outfield and the infield is where that ball landed. Finn Chester is going to stay out there for the rest of this inning. Matt Fry, the freshman, comes up. He's got a walk and a line out in his two plate appearances in this one. Walked in the third inning. Ted Burton at second base. He's got 7 steals. I don't expect him to go in this plate appearance, but you never know with how Michigan has operated around the base pass today. Fry, an excellent eye on him. 23 walks to only 18 strikeouts. Had the walk in his last plate appearance. He's got an on-base percentage over 130 points higher than his batting average. He hits .264 with runners on base and .312 with runners in scoring position. So he's been a good hitter when there's runners available to score. He's got 23 RBIs on the year. 1-0 on him. He pops it up. Foul into the left side of the parking lot here at Ray Fisher Stadium. 6-2 ball game. Still in the bottom of the fourth. It's been long innings for Michigan. They've left a couple runners on base, but they have been, for the most part, able to manufacture enough runs to stay on top. Nate Ehrman did have a home run in the last frame for the Titans, another foul ball by Fry. That pulled the game to a 4-2 score, but the 2 runs added by the Wolverines have been nice insurance, especially with how well the Wolverines starting pitcher Cameron Weston has fared so far today, save for that home run. Matt Fry faces a 1-2 count with 1 out. Ted Burton on second base. Finn Chester steps off to check Burton, sending him back. Chester checks his armband to see what he's meant to throw here. The 1-2 count to Fry. Chester looks back from the stretch. Fry, chopper right in front of the umpire ahead of second base, and Matt Fry gets on with an infield single. Ted Burton advances to third base.
We got Flores coming up to the plate. 0 for 1 today. Hit by pitch in the third, however, and stranded.
At third base, but he did have that RBI on the bases loaded situation.
Interesting to see a player get that hit by pitch and then get credited with it too.
He had the run hit in, I guess you would say, instead of batted in. But Fry at first base. The second base umpire, Harry Greer, had to step away from that chopper. This one hit into foul territory by Flores. He has been a hitter with great power so far in the year, but his average has lagged behind. Now down to a .259 average, only .237 with runners in scoring position. And with Ted Burton on third, this represents a great opportunity to break this game open for Tito Flores, the designated hitter. 0-1 the count now on him. Sends this one back up the middle of the second baseman, Haley. Steps on the bag at second, fires over to first base, and he's got the double play. Keeps Ted Burton away from scoring. Cal State Fullerton gets out of the bottom of the fourth inning with only 2 runs being allowed to score. Both tough plays to make and off of errors from the Cal State Fullerton defense. They get out of it. Only surrendering those 2 runners keeps the score at 6-2.
With that, Michigan does extend their lead back to 4 after surrendering that home run in the top of the fourth. It's able to keep their lead as we go into the fifth. Still got Weston on the mound. Intrigued to see how long they maybe keep him there. No one has even started warming up in Michigan's pen. Find that kind of fascinating on a cold day like this one is.
The number 9 hitter, the second baseman, Jack Haley, will lead off for Cal State Fullerton. He was the one that ended the inning there on the double play, fielded the grounder, got it to second base, stepped on the bag, threw over to first to finish it off. We'll get to the top of the fifth inning. Cam Weston, 4 innings pitched so far, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, has 5 strikeouts, and those 2 earned runs came from the home run by Cole Ehrman. And the final line on Evan Yates, he did allow 4 runs in this one, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts after being relieved by Finn Chester. His ERA balloons to 6. Finn Chester will go down having 1 earned run last inning, 1 unearned run. His ERA goes up to 3.12.
Before we get started on the top of the 5th, a brief scoring update. It's now tied at 1 apiece in the Penn State-Michigan softball game, bottom of the 5th inning with no outs. We'll keep you updated on that one as Michigan's softball team looks to continue their success from yesterday. After getting a mercy game against Penn State in softball.
Jack Haley, first pitch down in the dirt, ball 1. Weston with another length of time that he was unable to pitch. It's been a cold day. We'll see if that further plays a factor in this inning. Another ball low and outside. Jack Haley, the number 9 hitter. And it's dangerous if you can't retire Haley here. The lineup turns over to Caden Connor, Jackson Lyon, and Zach Liu. Jackson Lyon's 2 for 2 so far today. Another ball low and outside. 3-0, the count on Jack Haley. Cam Weston up to 70 pitches so far today. His velocity has trailed off just a bit. He started off in the mid-90s, now just below 90 miles an hour on the fastball. The 3-0 to Haley. In there, called strike. Avoids the 4-pitch walk. Keeps Haley up there. The 3-1 now for him. Quick pitch. Chopped towards the second base side. And Ted Burton cannot make the play on the throw to first base. An infield single for Jack Haley.
Between the two teams, that's like the 4th or 5th infield hit we've got on those high choppers. Both teams just hitting these balls down into the proverbial dirt here on this turf diamond. Just neither defense is able to scoop it in and chuck it to first in time.
And the leadoff hitter for the Titans steps back up to the plate. It's Caden Connor. He had a walk in his last plate appearance in the 3rd inning. Jack Haley on first. Connor grounds it softly to the second base side. Burton, double play, turned there by Burton, Bertram, and Jack Van Remortel. Puts away the second baseman Haley and the first baseman Caden Connor. Connor grounds into a double play on his first pitch of this frame.
We got Lyon up to the plate now. 2 singles in this game, 2 for 2. And it looks like Weston's going to try and get out of this inning.
Strike 1 called inside Jackson Lyon. And Weston has turned it around after surrendering that chopper to Haley. Gets the double play. Now has an easier shot of getting out of the inning unscathed. Jackson Lyon pops this one up towards the right field side. All the hats come off of the players around there. Clark Elliott makes a nice basket catch just in front of foul territory.
Yeah.
And a quick, wasn't a 1-2-3 inning, but only 3 runners came up to the plate. Cam Weston retires 2 batters on a double play and gets the pop out to right field from Lyon and avoids trouble. Chester Finn will go right back out there and face off Riley Bertram to lead off.
No runners left on base with 1 hit and no runs scored and 0 errors. Michigan has yet to record an error on defense this game. Last play was kind of funny as all 3 players, we had the first baseman, second baseman, and right fielder kind of converge on the pop-up, and all of them were running so fast their caps just flew back and onto the turf, all in unison pretty much. Michigan able to get the out, though, in the end.
Bit of college hockey news. Michigan goalie Eric Portillo is going to return to the Wolverines for his junior year. His rights were with Buffalo, but he might have just said, I don't want to play for the Sabres, and he's going to come back for Michigan, who already lost a lot of talent after this year's Frozen Four. They lost Owen Power, Matty Beniers, Kent Johnson.
Michigan's hockey program, it's always going to be full of talent, just being in Michigan with hockey so big. And University of Michigan gets such a big international draw, too, for collegiate guys abroad wanting to play in the NCAA. Michigan is always a prime destination, particularly for hockey. But that is huge to get that returning player after that heartbreaking loss the other night against University of Denver and Boston.
Chester Finn will face the leadoff hitter Riley Bertram, who hits .346 in his leadoff plate appearances. First pitch gets the outside corner of the strike zone for strike one. The 0-1 to Bertram, down low, ball in the dirt. 1-1 the count now for Bertram. He had a single that led to an RBI in the third inning. Part of that 3-run frame for the Wolverines. Now to lead off the bottom of the fifth inning, he's got a 1-1 against Chester Finn. Swings, lifts it to left field, but it'll go foul into the Michigan bullpen. 1-2 the count now for Bertram.
After 2 straight offensive innings, Michigan looking to keep that going. Had 3 in the third and 2 in the fourth, extending their lead back up to 4 after surrendering that 2-run home run in the top of the fourth inning.
1-2 for Bertram. Lets it go by. Ball low. 2-2 evens the count now for the senior shortstop. He's got 107 at-bats in this young 2020 season. Bertram swings once again. Foul ball towards the Titan dugout. Stays alive as Chester Finn in relief has already thrown 27 pitches. Has not gone through 2 complete innings yet. Has the 2 runs allowed, 1 earned. 2-2 for Bertram. This time sends one towards center field. Working towards it is the center fielder for the Titans, Jackson Lyon. He catches it running for the first out of the inning.
A little bit of an unfavorable wind. See the flag. It's not too strong out there, but definitely flag and outfield blowing in.
Drifted it towards the center fielder, Lyon, and maybe if that ball wasn't so highly launched off the bat, it gets down into the right field gap. It was 97 miles an hour off the bat of Bertram. Jimmy Obertop, the 7-hitter, steps in. Grounder towards the third base side. Obertop, low throw, can't beat it out. He's out at first base quickly. And the third baseman, Zach Liu, had a tough time getting it over there. And we do have a substitution. Jack Haley will move to shortstop, replacing JT Naviak. And number 35, J.J. Cruz, steps in at second base. This is just a defensive substitution. Naviak did have an error, bobbling a ground ball to him that cost Cal State Fullerton an out.
And eventually a run, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah, so he'll be removed for J.J. Cruz. Jack Haley slides over to shortstop. Still the same defensive lineup everywhere else for the Titans. Van Remortel up to bat. Took a strike, his first pitch. This time chops it. Doesn't go foul before it's picked up by Liu. And another play by Liu to get it over to first base. Gets the out. It was a grounding throw again, but Van Remortel not fast enough to beat it out.
Liu is showing his defensive chops there. 2 very hard-hit balls in the dirt, and he's able to pick it up. Both of them unable to get it to first base on a fly, but both were on point and eventually got the out. As we had a very quick bottom of the 5th inning there.
Very quick 5th inning total. It was quick for Cameron Weston to get out of it, and he's still pitching as we will enter the top of the 6th inning. He's got 77 pitches so far today, working deep into this game. But it was a quick 5th inning overall after a relatively slow first half of the game with how many runs that were scored. But the junior Weston still stays in.
I think that might have been the loudest the crowd has gotten, is in between the innings some of the event staff is giving out free baseballs, I believe, to the crowd All the young fans in attendance scrambling to get one to bring home.
And this inning for Weston could be his last. He has not pitched deeper than 6 innings into any ball game so far this year. He does have 2 games against Louisville and Nebraska where he pitched 6 full innings. Both of those games he actually gave up more runs than he has here. So with only 2 earned runs, he does have those 77 pitches. I would expect this to be Weston's last inning.
No one in the pen yet warming up. We got a couple of players just sitting there spectating.
Well, they'll probably wait until about halfway through this inning before they send somebody out there, given how long the innings have lasted on the Wolverine side of the frames. But Zach Liu steps in, the third baseman, who made a couple nice plays last half inning for the Titans. He comes in as a .444 leadoff hitter. First 2 pitches to him are balls low. So already a 2-0 count on Liu. He has 2 groundouts in this game to the second baseman and the shortstop. That ball's in there for a called strike. 2-1 now, the count on Liu. Liu has more walks than strikeouts, 17-15 on that ratio. He's a .346 hitter so far this year. Another ball low to him makes it 3-1 the count now. We have seen Cameron Weston have a couple of at-bats where the hitters are able to get ahead in the count, but only 1 walk surrendered. He's been able to battle back in these counts. Now, grounded right back up towards him. Diving play made by Burton. He can't get to it. It's a hit right up the middle for Zach Liu, his first of the ball game. He's 1 for 3.
The left fielder, number 30, Jason Brando.
Jason Brando, who had a single and a strikeout in his past 2 plate appearances, comes up. He's a .320 hitter. Hits .317 with runners on base. And to begin this 6th inning, quickly, a runner on with a single for the Titans. Weston from the stretch. Brando lets it go for a strike on the outside corner.
Michigan playing at double play depth, at least in the center of the infield.
Brando lets another pitch go. This time it's a ball inside.
Burton kind of cheating in a little bit in case there's a stolen base attempt. Liu has only attempted to steal twice and caught in both attempts.
1-1 the count for Brando. Sends it back towards the third base side. Gets between Riley Bertram and Matt Fry into left field. Back-to-back singles for the Titans. 2 runners on now for Brendan Bobo.
Designated hitter, number 37, Brendan Bobo.
Bobo has a double in the 4th inning and was eventually hit home by the home run. One of the 2 runs of the day for Cal State Fullerton.
Bobo did have that double. It was 2 pieces of hard hitting against Cameron Weston today. As we'll have a visit with a member of the coaching staff with Cameron Weston and catcher Jimmy Obertop.
Still no one warming up in the pen quite yet. See if anyone gets going now after this mound visit.
Somebody is stretching. A couple players are stretching. They're sending some people out to warm up in the bullpen. So Weston needs to get out of this inning here, or else he'll be replaced in the middle of it.
But he still had a pretty solid outing today. Initially brought down his ERA, but then hit it back up with that 2-run blast. 5 innings pitched so far, 8 hits surrendered, and 2 earned runs. 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. So your pregame analysis was spot on about not a guy who gives up a ton of hits or base runners, but has struggled a little bit this season, and we kind of see that here. But as of now, he's on pace for the win if Michigan's offense could keep it up.
And I was wrong about the fact, I mean, he only had 1 home run given up on the year, and he gave up a home run to probably, I would say, the worst hitter on the Titans lineup, to Cole Ehrman, who only hits .205. He gave up that home run. 2 lone runs scored. Now Brendan Bobo comes in. He takes the ball inside. And Weston really needs to get it out here with 2 men on, nobody out. The 1-0 to Bobo from the stretch. He doubled in his last plate appearance. Swing and a miss. Big hack from Bobo. Ball comes out of the mitt of Jimmy Overtop, but nothing comes of it. No runners advance.
Had 2 runners on with no outs here. A triple play potential, but that's always very difficult. This would be the perfect circumstances, and Michigan's infield shifted to the right.
Sharp lined foul ball towards the right side of the parking lot.
There it goes. It hits a red SUV. Going home with a dent after this one.
And the odds of turning a triple play are 1,400 to 1.
Really?
So if you
that doesn't seem right. I've seen more triple play.
No, I've only seen 1 triple play live. So if you want to cash that bet, go ahead. Another ball low in the dirt for Bobo on the 1-2. Evens the count. Runners stay planted at first and second. Neither have been successful base runners so far this year. Brando does have 2 steals, Lou with none. But with a runner on second base, it's rare to see a stolen base attempt with a runner that's not an accomplished base runner. Don't have a Ricky Henderson out there. 2-2 to Bobo. Strikes him out looking on the inside corner. Bobo sits down without a swing. And it's the first out of the inning for the Wolverines.
Weston brings his strikeout count to 6 in this game with 1 out here and 2 runners on. Looking to get out of the top of the 6th without surrendering any runs.
We do have 1 pitcher warming in the bullpen. He does not have his jacket off yet. We can't give you a number, but we will as soon as we can get it to you. Now the boogeyman, Cole Ehrman, steps up. He had a home run in his last plate appearance. The only 2 runs for the Titans. Check swing, called strike. Ehrman did strike out in his plate appearance before the home run. And like I've said all game, he's a light-hitting catcher. Only 17 hits so far in the year, 205, 244, 265, the slash line, 286 so far with runners in scoring position. That home run boosted it in his last at-bat. 0-1 the count, and he sharply lines one up the middle to center field, dropped by Joe Stewart, but the runner from third doesn't see it in advance. It's possible he could have gone home, but now the bases are loaded for the outfielder Nate Nankill.
Nankill has a strikeout looking and a ground out in this game. Curious to see how the infield is positioned with bases loaded and 1 out. Traditionally, you have the corners play in, but the center play out to potentially play turn 2.
And you look at Nankill's production, he looks to be a hitter that gets a lot of bases empty production. Takes a ball low. He hits 265, 327, 408 overall this season, but with runners on base, he hits 195. With runners in scoring position, he hits 214. And with the bases loaded, he hits only 143. So that means he's had quite a bit of opportunities with the bases loaded this year that haven't come up great for him. Now with 1 out, 3 men on for Cal State Fullerton. Takes the ball high and outside. 2-0 the count now for Nankill.
So I believe number 48 is warming up in the pen. That is Noah Renard.
Renard's the best arm that Michigan has in their bullpen. He's performed very well all year this year. Probably looking to shut this game down, especially in a situation like this. It's a 3-0 count to Nankill. He took a ball low in the dirt. From the stretch, here comes Weston in a tough spot. Nankill squares to bunt, and he takes it right down the middle. 3-1 the count now for him.
You never want to walk home a run. A little bit of a cushion here, but you'd much rather prefer to put it in play and potentially get an out or turn 2. Or ideally a strikeout if you could choose.
The 3-1 on Nankill. He chops this one foul towards the Michigan dugout. 3-2 the count now. And Weston still looks like he's going to keep working as Renard will continue to warm up in the Michigan pen. Said Nankill's 0 for 2 so far today with a ground out and a strikeout looking. He's got a full count now. With one out, bases loaded, he fouls another one towards the Michigan dugout. This one lighter than the previous. Still a tough spot for the Michigan pitcher Weston, who has performed decently well up to this point so far, only allowing the one home run, but Cole Ehrman got on with a single. And Nankill grounds it to the shortstop Bertram. Chance for two, and he's got it. A double play turn by Riley Bertram to get Michigan out of the inning unscathed. The shortstop fielded the ball cleanly, ran to second base, stepped on it, threw out Nankill, the runner at first.
And you have to think that's the last we've seen of Weston, but had a very solid outing, all things considered.
And what a play by Bertram to get Michigan out of the inning and keep the Titans to only 2 runs. Still 6-2 as we'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Chester comes out to the bump. Again, I'm kind of surprised we're seeing him again. He has 2.2 innings pitched with 3 hits and 2 runs, only one of them earned. But a 36 pitch count. He looked kind of rocky earlier, but able to stay in this ball game now.
And he'll face Jordan Rogers, who got on base and scored with an error last at bat for him. He got on base with an error from the shortstop Naviak, who actually has been subbed out for Cruz, for J.J. Cruz, who moved Jack Haley over to shortstop from second base. But Rogers got on base off that bobble, then advanced to second on a misplay, and then was hit home by Clark Elliott to score from second. Still 6-2 the score. We're 30 seconds out from beginning the bottom of the 6th inning. We've seen production from all over this Michigan lineup. It hasn't necessarily been from hits. We've seen a lot of these Michigan batters walk and get on base on errors and fielders' choices. It's been a game where you'd have to look deep into the box score. Jordan Rogers steps in to lead off this bottom of the 6th inning. Takes a pitch low and inside, ball 1. Rogers, a 195 average throughout the regular season, but he does have a 400 average as a leadoff hitter. The 1-0 to him. Grounds it softly to the shortstop, Haley. Easy throw over to the first baseman, Caden Connor. Retires Jordan Rogers.
It looked like Rogers might be able to steal a base on that one, but scooped up by Connor just in time to record the out. There we go. Clark Elliott coming up to the plate once again with the bases clear.
And this is a Michigan lineup with few changes from game to game. You take a look at most of these players have played all 29 games. Elliott has sat for 2 starts, but he's played in all 29 games. He hasn't started for all of them. And then the lineup all the way down to the 7th hitter Overtop have played in every single game this year. Van Remortel has started every game he's played, but then Jordan Elliott, the lone non-regular starter in this one. Elliott has a count at 2-0 now. He's walked twice and had a RBI single in this one. Complete game for the right fielder so far. And he lifts this one foul on the left side.
Almost into the bullpen where we got Renard warming up.
And he'll come in. Like I said, he's been Michigan's best reliever so far this year. So after this half inning, we will see a pitching change. And it'll keep the streak of Cameron Weston not pitching deeper into games than the 6th inning. Elliott turns on one, lifts it towards left field, and it's off the ground and off the wall. Struggling to make a play on it is the left fielder for the Titans, Jason Brandow, and Clark Elliott gets in there to second base, his second hit of the day. He's got 2 hits, 2 walks, has not recorded it out in this game.
He's having a phenomenal day and that RBI as well. Elliott on the base path now in scoring position. So you got Stewart with 3 hacks, but yet to record a hit tonight.
Does have those 2 fielder's choices and 2 runs. He flew out in the 4th inning to right field. Elliott at second. Stewart steps in, takes strike 1, looking on the outside corner.
Stewart yet to record a hit, but does have 2 runs. Yet to record a walk even. 2 fielder's choices and both times scoring.
Talked about the complete game Clark Elliott is having. He also had a steal earlier in this game, and that's why Finn Chester, the pitcher, is going to step off the mound and send him back over to second base. But Stewart, rare for him to end a game without a hit with that .320 average. In his 4th at-bat of the game, we'll see if he can hit one. He's .270 with runners in scoring position, .295 with runners on. 1 out now, the 0-1. He lifts it towards the right field side, foul. 0-2 the count now for him.
Onto the track, Ferry Field, over by the right field side.
6-2 still the score, 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Joe Stewart faces an 0-2 count against the second pitcher the Titans have put out in this game, Finn Chester. The junior right-hander from the stretch with Clark Elliott on second base. He looks back, now fires. Stewart sends it back up the middle, and Elliott will round third, and he'll score. Joe Stewart, with his first hit of the game, gets on base with a single.
Michigan extending their lead to the largest of the game. They now lead by 5 with a score of 7-2.
That 7-2 lead, 5 runs. It's the biggest lead of the ball game for the Wolverines. They had led by 4-0 earlier until the home run by Cole Ehrman made it 4-2. They've extended their lead to the biggest of the ball game.
Looks like Cal State's just sticking with Chester in this one, even after surrendering 2 early hits.
Ted Burton, the second baseman, 1 for 2. He's got a double, an RBI double, and a sac fly with a strikeout. Now Joe Stewart sliding into second base. He gets the steal. That's Stewart's 8th steal of the year. He's only been caught once. Second steal of the ball game for the Wolverines.
Great throw, just unable to catch Stewart after that phenomenal jump and his speed on his legs. Now in scoring position himself, looking to score for the 3rd time today.
Burton has a 1-0 count now. Like I mentioned, he's 1 for 2. He's got 2 RBIs, double and the sac fly. Squares up to hit, takes a strike low and outside.
Beautiful changeup, clocking in only at 75 miles per hour, the bottom corner of the zone.
That was an impressively located pitch just to paint that outside corner. It looked a little low from our angle, but home plate umpire Jeff Doy calls it a strike. The 1-1 for Burton as Finn Chester steps off the mound and checks the runner Stewart at second. As pointing to Adam to show my mom has arrived with my dog.
I was wondering what you were pointing at, but yes, a beautiful dog for Mackinac.
He's great. I'm surprised they let him in, but game's pretty empty. Foul ball by Burton, lift over the right field wall, foul.
Lots of kids and lots of dogs in Fisher Stadium today.
Burton's got a 1-2 count. One out, man on second. He lifts this one towards left field, popped high. The shortstop, Haley, will take care of it for the second out of the inning.
That one had a lot of lift on it, almost into orbit. Able to get under Haley to record the second out here. As Fry steps up to the plate, 1 for 2 on the day with a walk and a single.
Fry, excellent plate discipline, the freshman third baseman. Trying to wave to my mom, but she can't see me. She's right in front of us. See her on the phone trying to text me. But Fry, 1 for 2 with that walk and a single. He's got Stewart still on second base. Swings and hits this one into right field. That'll allow Joe Stewart to score. Matt Fry strokes a single to score a runner and makes it 8-2.
2-out rally there, and Michigan adds on to their lead. And still no movement to pull Chester. I feel like Fullerton has kind of thrown in the towel at this point on this game. Just trying to get through it without burning too many pitchers.
And Fullerton, they only lost 2-1 last game, now 2-8. And Michigan probably will give Cal State Fullerton their 19th loss on the season. We got a mound visit for Cal State Fullerton. And they'll bring a reliever out of the bullpen for Finn Chester, who's gone for 3 1/3 innings in his stint relieving the freshman Evan Yates who started this game. Now with 2 outs, 2 runners have scored in this bottom of the 6th inning. We'll give you who the reliever is once we can see a number. He's got a good head of hair on him, pretty long. It is Wyatt Johnson, number 36, the sophomore right-handed pitcher.
I really like Fullerton's uniforms. They're wearing blue tops with gray pants, but they have orange numbers on top of the blue, and they really pop.
Yeah, it's a cool color combination for them. I like the white borders around the numbers. And we can't see it that well, but it looks like they have sort of a cursive script diagonal on their jerseys, kind of like how the Minnesota Twins do.
Yeah, it's a similar color combo, too.
But definitely works well against the white maize and blue that Michigan has for their home jerseys. I really like Michigan's home jerseys. I think they're classic
very
baseball.
Clean. And
they're a little bit cream-colored. Not all white, in my opinion.
Yeah, like an off-white. But now that I'm looking at it, these Fullerton uniforms are very reminiscent of the New York Mets between the orange and the blue.
Well, we are at the Wilpon Baseball Complex. They don't own them anymore, but
I'm sure he's still a Mets fan for life after owning them for so long.
Old Fred taken over by Steve Cohen, the new Mets owner, who's got a whole lot of money. And a lot of people use an expression I can't say on a broadcast to describe how much money he's got. Tito Flores comes up, the designated hitter. He's got a hit by pitch, grounded into a double play, and a routine ground out to the shortstop in his 3 at-bats, and he's hit again.
Some players just have a magnet like that, but he was even crowding the plate on that one.
That's the second time Tito Flores has been hit by a pitch today.
Very first one from Johnson. And straight into the side of Tito Flores. He shakes that one off.
Flores, the junior from Brother Rice, outside of Detroit. We'll check on to see how many times he's been hit by a pitch this season. That is his 7th and 8th time he's been hit by a pitch so far this year. I'd say that's a fair bit.
Yeah, especially the season's not that old. It's still only a month and a half or so into it.
Riley Bertram, the shortstop, steps up. He fouls off the first pitch he sees. And Flores, continuing his team-leading hit-by-pitch amount. He's gotten hit by pitch 8 times. He moved ahead of Alex Fedgy Johnson, who only plays part-time but got hit 6 times in that time frame. He played 22 games. Flores played all 29. Now he's got 8 hit-by-pitches.
Some players just have a magnet like that.
But there is something to be said. I know there's been a lot of research done into players who get hit by pitches more often than others. As Bertram takes the ball high, makes it 2-1 on him. There are some players, Anthony Rizzo, Brandon Geyer, who used to play for the Rays and the Indians, used to get hit by pitches quite a bit. And Tim LeCastro, who is a utility outfielder now for the New York Yankees, he gets hit very often. He's one of those players that manufactures a lot out of nothing. Big hack by Bertram. Strike 2 on him. But Tim LeCastro, actually the fastest player in the major leagues. He'll get hit by a pitch, steal second, maybe even steal third, and then get home on a single. He's like Ricky Henderson in a lot of ways, who was a player that could really manufacture runs out of not a lot given to him. But Bertram up to bat now, the 2-2 outside.
That last pitch looked pretty good to me. He's lucky to still get a chance after it's a called ball.
It's called that ball. The count is full for Bertram with 2 runners on base, Flores and Fry on first and second. And Wyatt Johnson, who has pitched to a 2.08 ERA so far this year.
You have to imagine the runners are moving on the leg lift.
And nearly hits Bertram, but he walks him anyways. Base is loaded now for Jimmy Overtop, the second time he's had him loaded today in this game. Overtop. Maybe this is why they wanted Jimmy Overtop batting 7th.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of flexibility with the lineup. The top 7 hitters, Overtop, Bertram, Flores, Fry, Burton, Stewart, and Elliott are very good. It's been the pitching that's been the problem all year for the Wolverines, but their offense, especially today, has shown up. Overtop with the bases loaded. First pitch down in the dirt, ball 1. Wyatt Johnson, the sophomore, has only pitched 4 1/3 innings so far this season. He's got 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, as the walk today that he's given up. In his small sample size, he lets up a hit 29% of the time with 2 outs. High foul ball by Overtop into the right field parking lot. One the count on Overtop as we await the scoreboard to change. Still shows 0-1. Third pitch of the at-bat up high. Ball 2. And we'll see if this discrepancy between what we have on our computers and the scoreboard plays any factor. It's 2-1 on the scoreboard, or 2-1 on our computers, 1-1 on the scoreboard. So Overtop, the 4th pitch of the at-bat, lifts this one again into the right field side of the parking lot.
Yeah, discrepancy still holds. Curious to see what comes of it. 2 outs here with 1 ball and 2 strikes. So,
and I thought that I had seen one before. There was 2 strikes on Ted Burton, but they had a gap in play, and there was another called strike. I thought he struck out, but they did not make that call, and he stayed up and actually hit a single. So we'll see if this changes anything, but it showed up before. Overtop, another foul ball towards the third base line.
We got the runners moving on contact here with 2 outs. So regardless of the number of balls, it is going to be 2 strikes here.
And this is always the situation where the umpire, the home plate umpire, cannot rely on the scoreboard. He has to keep the count himself. The 2-2 on Overtop, swings and misses, doesn't matter. He strikes out to end the inning with the bases loaded. Not the result you'd like to see, But Jimmy Overtop sits down swinging, and nothing comes of the bases loaded opportunity for the Wolverines.
So bases loaded to end that one. Michigan heads into the top of the 7th here. Got a little bit of a score update from across the pond. I don't know why I said that, across the diamond.
It's a funny expression to use right now.
Yeah. Across the diamond, we got Penn State versus Michigan softball. Bottom of the 7th, it's tied, but Michigan has 2 runners on. And it looks like the teams are shaking hands now, so I wonder if the game has ended. Yes, it has. So a walk-off hit from LeClaire, and that'll do it from Alumni Field as Michigan wins in the bottom of the 7th.
I will say Milena Livingston, who is a transfer from Penn State, I know her personally. She hit a home run to make the game a mercy rule last night.
Yeah.
She hit a home run. 2 for 4 I see in this one, so playing with a lot of motivation going against her former team.
That's interesting to see a senior switch, too.
Well, she's from around here. She's from Macomb County, and she goes 2 for 4, hitting .417 on the year. She's hitting cleanup. I was sad to see the one game that I did call this season. She was not playing, but I am going to be on the call on the 12th this Tuesday. So
it should be a good one. Who do they play on Tuesday?
I believe.
Let me pull it up. Actually, I got the schedule. They're playing Central Michigan.
Yeah.
So there you go, playing the Chippewas here in Alumni Field. We got a couple of games coming up also later this week. We got the Chippewas game, and then Michigan baseball is playing in South Bend. We are sending a broadcaster, Zach Linfield. So we'll get 2 straight days of 2 back-to-back games on Tuesday, with the softball followed by baseball at 6:30 in South Bend. Our first time covering a game from South Bend, at least in the past couple of years in station history.
And that's surprising because it's not that bad of a drive.
No, I would have figured at least for hockey we were going to send a crew this year when they played on the road. But it was over spring break, so none of our broadcasters were available. So we will get one on Tuesday for baseball.
Noah Renard is the new pitcher for the Michigan Wolverines. He is arguably having the best season, especially out of the bullpen for Michigan. 2.67 ERA, 2-1 with 2 saves and 30 1/3 innings pitched. The left-handed hitter, the sophomore, now playing second base, who is a defensive substitution, J.J. Cruz, is in the batter's box for Cal State Fullerton. He's got a 1-1 count already against Renard as he sets for the third pitch. Big swing and a miss from Cruz. Cruz is a .226 hitter. Hits .250 in leadoff situations. He's got a .317 on base percentage, a .358 slug. 13 strikeouts to only 3 walks. It's 1-2 now to him, and he strikes out swinging. Renard comes in quickly and gets a strikeout, and the scoreboard again was a little bit messed up. I don't know what's going on there, but that was a 1-2 count. They showed it as 2-1.
Whoever's doing it might be sleeping a little bit.
And you wonder if that's going to represent any trouble at all in this game, as there is precedent for missed calls. We see it sometimes in MLB. It's not talked about often, but there are missed. There's 3 ball walks, 2 pitch strikeouts.
Yeah.
Big hack by Jack Haley, the second baseman, now faces an 0-2 count. Noah Renard stepping in and delivering.
Is that 5 straight strikes?
He did have 1 ball. And a swing and a miss on Jack Haley. Noah Renard registers 2 straight swinging strikeouts at the bottom of the lineup for Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah. With Renard coming in with a 6-run lead, unable to secure a save potentially. Would be an extended hold, I suppose.
Caden Connor 0 for 2 so far today. He does have a walk, but he had a fly ball in the first inning and a double play 4-6-3 in the 5th inning. He comes in as the lineup turns over, takes a strike looking on the outside corner. Noah Renard still dealing.
Only 1 ball pitched compared to 7 strikes now.
Renard, as Connor squares up to bunt, but it goes foul. Strike 2 on Caden Connor.
Only way anyone could get in contact so far is squaring on up. 2 strikes, no balls, and 2 outs here. Potentially 1 pitch away from the 7th inning stretch.
And sadly, Noah Renard is 1 pitch away. If this pitch ends up being a strikeout, he was 1 pitch away from an immaculate inning. He had a ball on the first pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Against,
that's true.
He had a ball on the first pitch against J.J. Cruz.
Immaculate inning, that's no contact, right?
That it strikes out. Caden Connor looking. 3 strikeouts for Noah Renard, and he was 1 ball away from having an immaculate 7th inning there. But an immaculate inning is just 9 straight strikes.
9 straight strikes, okay.
Doesn't matter if they're foul or, I mean, obviously there's maybe traditionalists out there that say it's got to be 9 straight looking strikes or swinging strikes.
Yeah.
But I actually, yesterday in the Tigers game, there was another situation where it was 1 pitch away from an immaculate inning. Eduardo Rodriguez it was in the Reds game. I was watching the Cincinnati Reds. Tyler Mahle was 1 strike away from an immaculate inning, but he actually let up a single and then let up another single. He got out of the inning, but
yeah, they're pretty rare. They occur.
They're more rare than no hitters.
Is that true?
Yeah, no hitter. There's been 3 in MLB, but
that seems odd because I've seen a couple immaculate innings. I saw one from Scherzer in D.C.
There's been more over the past few years as there's been more strikeouts.
More of a outcome.
You take a look
type
here.
Of game.
We're looking at the AL immaculate innings in chronological order. There's less than 15 before 2000, and then there's been
an
20.
Explosion.
There's been 20 in the past 20 years. So it's been a more common occurrence recently, but as you can see, there's been about 300 no-hitters.
I've seen Scherzer get one.
Yeah.
I saw him on the Nats.
So that was last year.
Did he do one on the Nats? I could have sworn he had one.
He did. Yeah,
it is.
He's
I
had
saw
2
that one.
immaculate innings, but there's been about 103 immaculate innings in Major League Baseball, but there's only been about 300 no-hitters. So
Really?
It is a more rare thing. We have seen more no-hitters. We have seen more immaculate innings, but the perfect game remains the pinnacle.
Of course.
With only about 30 perfect games, I believe.
Yeah, it's in the double digits. It's pretty
23.
low. Is it that low?
Wow. No one has ever thrown more than 1. That's a lot less than I would expect. But
yeah.
None since Felix Hernandez in 2012.
Is that the most recent one?
Yep.
Really?
Most of these no-hitters we see, there have been some with like 1 hit batter and one walk, but there has not been a perfect game in Major League Baseball since 2012.
That's impressive. You see this, baseball at the pro level, it's trending towards, the 3 true outcomes of, the walks and the hits and the home runs and strikeouts.
We have a new pitcher, Isaiah Muniz, for Cal State Fullerton. He's number 47. A freshman right-hander looking to get some work in a 8-2 ball game. Jack Van Remortel steps in. First pitch swinging, pops it up to the second base side. Just on the outfield grass, it's caught by J.J. Cruz. Remortel goes down quickly. Jordan Rogers will come back up. The junior is 0 for 3. He has reached on an error and scored on that trip around the base paths. He's got a strikeout and a ground out other than that. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning as Isaiah Muniz looks to work quickly. First pitch strike in there. Called on the batter, Rogers.
We do have an update from Comerica. The Tigers just lost this one. I guess they'll have to settle with 161-1 at the end of the season.
That was a crazy walk-off. I'd never really seen anything like that. Last game yesterday afternoon, Javier Baez showed up with a walk-off single off the wall. It looked to be caught by the right fielder for the White Sox, A.J. Pollock. Rogers still in there. He's got a 2-1 count in this 8-2 ball game, bottom of the 7th inning. Michigan still with 1 less hit than Cal State Fullerton. They only have 8. They scored 8 runs.
So many of those runs were off errors and like small ball tactics.
And that's why it's surprising, as Rogers sends one high but foul into the Cal State Fullerton dugout. It's surprising to see 8 hits, 8 runs for Michigan. You'd expect to see home runs in the box score, but Michigan has yet to hit a home run. Usually when the hits are close to the runs, that's where the production comes from. And then the surprising thing for Cal State Fullerton is their 2 runs were scored on a home run, but they have 9 hits, which means that they've left 8 runners on base that have recorded hits. Not often you see that.
For those keeping track at home, Torkelson yet to record a hit.
He had a walk today. I saw a deep fly ball into left center field by Jordan Rogers. Easy play made there by the center fielder, Jackson Lyon. But Torkelson walked. I saw that. He did have a rough going in last year's spring training. It took him about 20 at-bats to record a hit. He was a bit better this past spring training, but I expect him to.
It's so tough
together.
Being the first overall. You have so much expectation placed on you.
And this game, Casey Mize threw it, who was the first overall pick in 2018. Then Spencer Torkelson, the first overall pick in 2020, was involved. Tigers missed out on the first overall pick, Adley Rutschman, in 2019. Clark Elliott steps in and squares to bunt. And the pitch blows by him. He got his bat away in time that they'll call it a ball on the scoreboard.
Unlike other sports, like the first overall isn't always a superstar. Like you look at football and basketball, first overall is huge.
Elliott swings and misses. Not often you see that. Yeah, and first overall picks in the MLB draft in general has always been an endeavor that's not as, the players that are drafted are not often superstars, at least right away, and some of them don't even end up making the majors. Elliott takes a ball high. We saw Mickey Moniak, who is the 2016 first overall pick by the Philadelphia Phillies, make the opening day roster for the Phils for the first time in his career. It's not often you see first overall picks wait that long before they make an opening day roster, but Moniak's hard work paid off, and he hit really well. Center field is a spot for the Phillies that they need. Right now it's Matt Vierling, and probably Moniak will slide in. He's a lefty, and I think Vierling's a righty, so that'll be a good platoon for them. But in the 2010s, there have been some first overall picks.
I remember Harper was first overall, wasn't he?
Harper was first overall as Clark Elliott walks.
Oh, and Strasburg, too. Okay.
But the thing I was going to say was that in the mid-2010s, you kind of saw some players that weren't and haven't become great. Mark Appel was a pitcher selected by the Houston Astros first overall in 2013. He never made it to the majors, and he actually retired. And Brady Aiken was another first overall pick by the Astros the next year, a left-handed pitcher who also did not make the majors and probably will never make the majors. And it's surprising the Astros had 3 straight first overall picks. Only Carlos Correa made it up with them, and they still have gone to 5 straight ALCSs. It's been a great dynastic run for the Astros, but without 2 of their first overall picks that they tanked to get.
Well, it helps when you got a little bit of a underhand advantage with some trash cans and other stuff going on.
But then the 2 first overall picks after, as Joe Stewart sends this one to center field, and Clark Elliott running. The scoreboard said there was only 1 out, but that's the 3rd out of the inning. The scoreboard operator, maybe he's looking at who was the first overall MLB draft pick.
Possibly.
But that ends the 7th inning. We'll enter the top of the 8th. Michigan still leading 8-2. This game has taken a bit of a turn towards quicker innings over the past few. But the picks after Appel and Aiken, Dansby Swanson and Mickey Moniak. Moniak obviously making his first opening day roster, but Swanson, he won a World Series with the Braves this past year. I just don't think that he is the type of guy you want to take with a first overall pick. He's got 77 home runs as a shortstop, so it's pretty good. But
there was a run of good players who panned out. We had Strasburg, who was an all-star, Bryce Harper, an all-star and Rookie of the Year, Garrett Cole, all-star, Correa, Rookie of the Year, and then Appel, who never really panned out. But Aiken, has gotten some talent,
And
I suppose.
the interesting thing I'm seeing about the first overall picks is you only have 3 Hall of Famers ever selected with the first overall pick. The MLB draft has only gone back to 1965, but Ken Griffey Jr. and Chipper Jones were 2 Hall of Famers, and then you have to go back to 1977 when Harold Baines was drafted first overall.
To be fair, I think we could both agree Joe Mauer will be making Cooperstown one of these days.
Yeah, you see Joe Mauer and Harper will make the Hall of Fame. Garrett Cole maybe. Correa stays on the same track. So those first overall picks were good, but for the longest time it was really a crapshoot.
Darryl Strawberry's in Cooperstown?
No, he didn't really have a long enough career. But we will kick off the top of the 8th inning with Jackson Lyon. He's hitting .347 still, 2 for 3 today, 2 singles, and a flyout on a foul ball back in the 5th inning. Takes the second pitch low for a ball, 1-1 now. He took a deep exhale after that pitch. It's still cold enough for your breath to be turned into condensation. Chopper towards the shortstop, Bertram. Easy throw over to first to Van Remortel, and Jackson Lyon is out at first base.
Got Renard, 4 straight batters retired. That was the first contact in fair territory after a bunt earlier.
Zach Liu, the third baseman, comes up. He had a single back in the 6th inning, 2 groundouts other than that. First pitch in there, a strike inside for Renard, who has just been masterful in his short time up today, pitching quickly. Second pitch in there, a bit low, but it's still called a strike.
Oh, I didn't realize A-Rod was a first overall. He might make
He's got a Hall of Fame resume, but I don't know.
Yeah.
1-2 the count.
Adrian Gonzalez kind of fell off there a little bit. He looked good from the get-go, but
the thing about A-Rod is as Lou sharply lines one towards left field, he has a single. That's Renard's first mistake of the day. Quick throw over to first base by Bertram to try and tag Lou out. But Lou's on first. Jason Brando steps up.
Lou's on first. What's on second? I don't know's on third. Abbott and Costello called them up.
I think, well, you could say lose on first, but then win on second. I don't know. Brandau takes strike one looking. The thing about A-Rod, he's never going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't think.
You don't think so?
Maybe in the next 40 years when the voters change, but he's not going to make it in through the writers. And the thing about the Veterans Committee is that there was a memo that got released that they're not going to allow the directive is to not allow any steroid users in the Hall of Fame. So
what's the point of having that committee if, like, the directive is sent out, though, from, like, the leadership?
The Baseball Hall of Fame is frustrating. I think that it is, as Brando has 2 strikes now, he lifts one towards center field, caught by Joe Stewart on the run. 2 outs now in this 8th inning. Runner stays on first. But I think the Baseball Hall of Fame is how you want to run the Hall of Fame. I think the Basketball Hall of Fame lets in a little too many people. I mean,
but that's like the pro and the college kind of combined in one.
And Olympics and whatever. But I mean,
it's like the whole sport. This is like the pro.
I still think it's a little too easy to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I don't disagree. NFL's pretty exclusive, especially for a sport with like 53 men rosters.
If you're a prolific quarterback, you're guaranteed to get in. I don't know if you're a prolific.
A punter, there's only one. Is it Ray Guy? Is that it?
And I think,
Put McAfee in for his broadcaster role.
A foul ball off of Brendan Bobo with 2 outs, 1-1 the count on him. I have some hot takes about the NFL Hall of Fame. I think Devin Hester needs to go in. And then on top of that, I believe that special teamers, like gunners, should go in because they're the best players at their position. Swing and a miss by Bobo, 1-2 now. Guys like Steve Tasker he's a Hall of Famer. He was an excellent special team guy with the Buffalo Bills when they made their 4 Super Bowls. And
like they're the best at what they do. I think they should deserve recognition at least.
Bobo takes the ball high, 2-2 now, and another player is Matthew Slater.
I was about to ask you about
he's,
that.
He's a Hall of Famer.
You think so? I don't think he'll get in. I think he's worthy.
In my heart, I think he's worthy.
Well, I know he's worthy. I don't think he'll get in with the voters.
Yeah, that's what bugs me about the NFL Hall of Fame is that they don't take in every player, like every best player,
Fair
into
enough.
account.
Like even mediocre quarterbacks are getting the nod.
Matt Stafford's going to be a Hall of Famer. He did just win the Super Bowl, but I think even before that, I think he's on track to make the Hall of Fame. Bobo swings and misses and strikes out. Third out of the inning, recorded by Noah Renard. Will head to the bottom of the eighth. Michigan still up 8-2. We've worked quickly in this back half of the game. Hasn't been a run scored since the bottom of the sixth inning.
Yeah, I think even mediocre quarterbacks get in. You see, like people like
Phillip Rivers is going to go in.
Phillip Rivers will get in. Eli Manning's probably going to get in. You'll see probably even Russell Wilson, honestly. Big Ben's going to get in. Like, obviously, let Peyton Manning in, let Brady in, let Rodgers and Mahomes. But Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, he has the rings, but he was never very good. You look at Big Ben has 1 or 2 rings. He was always okay. He was never excellent. I don't think Drew Brees, maybe with his raw counting stats, but he never won MVP and only 1 ring.
To get back to it, baseball, only about 300 Hall of Famers have ever been let in 150 years of baseball being played.
No.
And people say that it's a really strict Hall of Fame, but as of recent, over the past 50 years, this has been the highest amount of Hall of Famers let in every year.
But that's because the addition of the committees really speed that up.
But there's some players like Harold Baines and Tim Raines that were let in who
was the guy? Was it Jim Rice on the Red Sox? Got a lot of criticism when he was admitted.
Well, and I don't like to say it, but Jack Morris, I don't know if he's really a Hall of Fame pitcher. I think Tram deserved to go in with him, but
I'm glad to see Poppy make it this past year.
Yeah,
it was my favorite.
He deserved it. He's
up.
one of the best DHs of all time, and he's iconic. You can't not put him in the Hall of Fame. Still a shame Lou Whitaker's not in yet.
He'll get in.
He needs to be in with Tram. And then actually Dick Allen, if you look up his stats, he was one of the best hitters of the 1970s. It's a shame he passed away before he could be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He wholeheartedly deserves to be in there.
You know, I got a question for you. What about Pete Rose? Does he deserve it?
Yeah. I think that even with I think his batting didn't really affect the 4,000 hits that he got in his career before that incident. And he's the MLB all-time hits leader. I think Barry Bonds deserves to be in because he was a steroid user, but there was no rule against it when he was playing. That's where I think Manny Ramirez and A-Rod are different because they got caught using steroids.
It's a nuanced take, but I like it. I haven't heard that
They got caught
before.
using steroids after it was a rule in place that you'd be suspended
Yeah.
if you were caught. That's why they were actually cheating when there was a rule in place to stop them. There was no rule in place to stop Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire. It was good for the game that they did what they did.
Yeah, and I think the Selig definitely knew. He knew what was going on, and he just wanted the numbers and the hits and the offense to get going again.
Ted Burton comes in. It's a new pitcher once again for Cal State Fullerton. Number 43, Samuel Gomez, junior left-handed pitcher. Burton comes up. He's 1 for 3. Got a double, a strikeout, and a sac fly, along with a fly out in his last at-bat. On the 1-1, he flies one up towards the Michigan dugout. We'll see if it stays in play. No, out of play. No ability to make a catch in fair territory for the Titans. Bottom of the 8th inning. Michigan's middle of the lineup due up here.
With a win today, assuming this result holds, Michigan will go to 2 games above 500.
And you and I talked about this before the game, but Cal State Fullerton, as I await the pitch to Burton here, ball low. Cal State Fullerton, this is only the second time that they'll go out of the state of California for a game this year. They play Hawaii in a couple months in an away conference series.
And they're a Mountain West team, so Hawaii's in conference for them.
Actually, Hawaii's only in the Mountain West for football. It's like the Big West.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hawaii's in more of an FCS-type conference, a lower mid-major conference.
Speaking of which, they will be coming to the Big House next season.
And swung on. Ted Burton gets it to center field, but it'll be jumped on for an out, first out of the inning. Yeah, Hawaii, that's always an interesting game. Hawaii's an
This is the second or third time they've come to the Big House, right?
Hawaii is an interesting program. I'm not sure, actually. But
I remember they came like 3 or 4 years ago.
They just had their head coach, Todd Graham, resign. He was actually not liked by his players. A lot of them entered the transfer portal, and they had to replace him. I was surprised that he resigned because he was due a big buyout if he was fired, but Hawaii cannot afford that buyout. So it looked like he was going to be the head coach for the next couple of years. He's gone. In steps Timmy Chang, who used to be the Rainbow Warriors quarterback about 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he comes in, tries to steer the program the right way. I know it was relevant under Cole McDonald and John Ursua. They were a good pairing. That team scored a lot of points under their head coach, Nick Rolovic. Matt Fry up. He's 2 for 3. Lifts this one. Pop up in the infield. Shortstop Haley will call for it, and he gets it. Zach Liu gets that one. But Cal State Fullerton, this is the second time that they're out of the state of California, but so far this year they're 3-11 on the road compared to 7-7 at home. So the road games have been tough, and this is especially tough coming all the way to Ann Arbor in the cold that you don't normally experience.
Oh, yeah. It's unheard of. You don't get this weather any time of year in Fullerton. Interesting that Michigan scheduled this out-of-conference series so late in the season, too.
Tito Flores comes up, swings and misses at the first pitch. It's interesting. Cal State Fullerton is one of the more recently successful baseball programs. They have 4 national titles. Michigan only has 2. Compared to a school like Vanderbilt, they have 2. So Cal State Fullerton, they have Justin Turner used to play for them. Tim Wallach used to play third base for the Montreal Expos. Mark Kotze, who is a former coach, and I think he's the current manager of the Oakland Athletics, went to Cal State Fullerton. So they have a good pedigree of MLB players.
Flores already hit twice today. So he comes up and swings and a miss, makes it 1-2.
And like I said, Flores is the team leader in hit by pitches so far this year with 8, added on to his tie he had with Alex Fedgy Johnson. Now Soley has possession of it. Bottom of the 8th inning, 1-2 the count on Flores, 2 outs, nobody on. Way outside from Gomez, who in 6 innings has a 3.00 ERA, makes it 2-2 for the junior DHing today, Tito Flores. The 2-2 comes high. Flores works it full. We've seen a lot of full counts so far today. Michigan hitters continue to work the Cal State Fullerton pitching staff. And with nobody on, 2 outs, Flores stays alive to take the 3-2. Ball low and in the dirt. Tito Flores walks, gets on base. The first base runner Michigan has had this inning after 2 deep flies to center field. Riley Bertram will come up now. He had a RBI single and a walk so far today. He also has a strikeout looking and a line out in the 5th inning, but his last plate appearance was that walk.
Barring a 9th inning collapse, this will be Michigan's last at bat this half of the inning.
My dog Mackinac has moved right in front of home plate. Bertram, tough play made by Liu, gets the out at second. What a great play by Zach Liu to pick that one off the ground. He's had a ton of great
plays this season, or this game today.
And he looks like he's got more of a shortstop's body. He's a bit smaller. You tend to see third baseman bigger than that, but makes a nice scoop on the grounder from Bertram and throws to second to get the force of Flores. We enter the final inning of this one, the 9th inning. Game has been a bit quieter in terms of runs scored, but if Noah Renard, who's returning to the mound, can get out of this inning scoreless, he'll get the win for the Wolverines and end this one without Michigan having to come up for the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, he already has 2 innings recorded, 2 full, only 1 hit surrendered. and 4 strikeouts, really bringing down his ERA. Came into this one with a 2.51.
Renard just has been lights out all year for the Wolverines. I'd be surprised if he didn't get at least some draft buzz. He's a junior, so he's eligible for the draft this next season. And with what he's done so far, he's been really good for the Wolverines. And he is a junior, but he's a redshirt sophomore in athletic terms.
Got it. All these guys are getting red shirts after COVID.
Yeah, he missed 2020 when he came in, or he was a junior college attendee. So I don't know how the eligibility works there, but he was at junior college from 2018 to 2020. Came here as a freshman in 2021, but didn't appear in a game. And now in 2022, he's been lights out. He's been the best reliever for Michigan.
Oh, yeah. All these guys in every sport, they got a lot more loose.
We have a pinch hitter in the top of the 9th. It is number 2, Dalen Pigford, the junior switch hitter. He's an outfielder for Cal State Fullerton. Right now he's batting lefty against Noah Renard, who quickly works to an 0-2 count against him. And Pigford, that's an unenviable situation to throw a pinch hitter in there against a guy who's dealing. And he swings and misses. Pigford sat down quickly, swings and misses. And Noah Renard has his 5th strikeout of the ballgame, and he's come in relief and done that.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. Michigan has struggled a lot this season in relief. A handful of blown games in the 8th or 9th inning. It's good to see a successful outing tonight, even though Michigan does have a 6-run cushion.
That's the 11th strikeout of the game by Cal State Fullerton batters, forced by Michigan Wolverine pitching. Renard now has another pinch hitter stepping in. It's Damone Hale, the sophomore right-handed outfielder, who steps in for his first at-bat of the game.
These are great opportunities to get pinch hitters in, get some guys who don't get a ton of at-bats. Down by 6 in the 9th.
He comes in for Nate Nankill. Cole Ehrman was the one getting substituted out for Dalen Pigford. Hale has a 1-2 count now against Renard, another dangerous spot. Renard gets some contact towards the third base side, but it goes foul over the third base line. 1-2, the count remains on Hale. You look at Renard's strikeout to walk ratio. He's got 40 strikeouts to only 9 walks so far this year.
That's quite impressive. That's what you love to see in a reliever.
2-2 to Hale. Check swing. Nobody.
Always pointing down to the umpire.
Appeal down to the first base umpire, Jeffrey Henricks. Doesn't get the call. Count is full now for Damone Hale. With 1 out, he swings, lifts a foul ball towards the parking lot on the right side.
Going to make the count full. Looking ahead at the schedule, Michigan playing tomorrow against Cal State Fullerton.
Swing and a miss, another strikeout for Noah Renard, his 6th of the ball game. It has been incredible to watch Noah Renard work, and it's surprising that they've let him go this far in a game that is really in the Wolverines' hand.
Yeah, they do have someone warming up, but I think that's mainly just like in case of emergency. Ideally, they'd like to see Renard finish this one out.
We do have another pinch hitter, number 19, Tristan Gomes, coming in for J.J. Cruz. Takes a first pitch strike, and Noah Renard has no mercy for any of these younger guys coming in to pinch hit.
Yeah, not at all.
Gomes, a sophomore, left-handed infielder. 1-1 count on him in Michigan. 2 strikes away from securing the 8-2 victory against Cal State Fullerton in a complete team game with a lot of manufactured base runs and great pitching from Cameron Weston and Noah Renard. Weston will get the win, but that does not discount how well Noah Renard has played today. He has the chance right now with a 2-1 count to end with a strikeout and 33% of his at-bats. That ball made me jump.
I know.
That was a foul right. If there was no net there, that was coming right to our window.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those, have you seen those videos of it's like kind of disarms you, and then it cuts to a baseball being pitched right at your face, and you're like, oh.
Can't say that.
Swing and a miss. Tristan Gomes put down on strikes, and Noah Renard strikes out the side in the 9th inning, picks up his 7th strikeout of the game in only 3 innings of relief.
This is going to be a game he never forgets.
What a game for Noah Renard. Well, we'll see. With how good he's been pitching all year, I don't know if this is going to be his best game of the year, but he has been lights out in his first season as a Wolverine. Michigan wins this one 8-2. They've officially won the series against Cal State Fullerton, but they return to Ray Fisher Stadium tomorrow afternoon to play the Titans in the 3rd game of the set.
Looking for a sweep. It would be the first sweep since they played Dayton in their first home series of the season. After that, on Tuesday, they're going to South Bend. We will have that on WCBN. And then they go on the road. They play at Jackson Field in Lansing, home of the Lugnuts, against MSU. And then they play back on Michigan State's campus for the final 2 games of the weekend series before coming back on the 22nd against rival Ohio State. All of those games will be on WCBN, so definitely tune in.
It's a complete team performance from the Michigan Wolverines. Cameron Weston will earn the win with his 6th innings of 2-run ball. Noah Renard comes in and has 7 strikeouts in 3 innings pitched. The Michigan lineup, all over it, played well. We had 2 hit-by pitches by Tito Flores. They scored 8 runs on 8 hits. No homers, but a lot of production up and down the lineup. That closes this one, the 2nd game of a 3-game set against Cal State Fullerton. Tomorrow, April 10th, Sunday at 1 o'clock, is the final game in the series. For Adam Bressler, I'm William Gregory. We'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon for Bark at the Park at Ray Fisher Stadium. Michigan wins 8-2. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night, and go blue.